Is this really the game statistic? Is this really the game statistic? He gave us shit reviews, our heart's desire. A Resident Evil and Tomb Raider of old. He dared question the universe, and now games just too easy. Do they make you shoot up schools? It was all so breezy. Then came you, Laura, and part of his soul died. But what really broke the man was Shadow fucking Joyride. Then came you, Laura, and part of his soul died. But what really broke the man was Shadow fucking Joyride. Haiti appeared, a body that holds the lies. Just you and her, no feelings left, so cries. Her stare gave him strength, like the Holy Spirit. Suddenly there was hope, suddenly his soul was lifted. Wipe the censor from our eyes, come into our arms, baby. I can tell from those thighs, I know you're not a human lady. I know you're not a human but lady. I don't care. Oh, Haiti. Oh.
YouTube.com.
Oh no, that's not what's happening.
No, this is
That's not what's happening at all. This is what's
that's
happening.
Guilty Gear Strive. That's not what I need. The Bangers Podcast 02.
Yep.
In North America.
Exactly.
So who am I? I'm gonna mute the stream that I'm watching. Okay, this
Oh,
I
Lord.
forgot.
Let's just let him get out.
Okay. So I'm glad we went live before I could actually see how you laid everything out. Okay.
Okay.
So Switch, Xbox, PS5.
Actually, do I even need to have this? Well, I need the stream up for chat. If I want to look at chat, and I don't.
That is, Chris, we are a little bit later than Primetime Europe. They have turned up for the Sonic 2 race. It was very brief.
Who won?
Yeah, who won?
Not me.
Shippo, according to.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't Shippo a Dragon
I'm gonna
Ball?
say, Stat, you're giving yourself a lot of credit with that hairline on that Race Wars pick.
That's an Inuyasha character.
Oh, you're right. It's the little squirrel.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little squirrel.
Well, yeah, this is how it's laid out. We've added gens 4, 8, and 9.
Okay,
Cool.
wow.
I like it. No portable stuff yet, huh? Oh, that's cool.
I didn't do anything else. What do you?
we have 2 games in Gen 7. Let's calm our horses down.
We have Wii Sports, but what about Wii Sports?
We're gonna
Reserve?
finish the last one of these is gonna happen in 2025.
If you want handhelds, think the TurboGrafx 16 is on here, and you could have played those games on a Turbo
The Kanye album?
Sure.
No, not the Kanye. Also, the Sega Genesis games could have been played on a Sega Nomad.
That's true.
That's
Yeah,
true.
he's right.
So
He is right.
Technically,
If you know, you know.
there you go.
Well, all right. I think we should all probably one by one go through our list of games that we want. Consider bangers.
You made a list.
You made
I
a
was
list?
just gonna start
Did
spitting it out.
Oh no! I made a list. I'm not that prepared. I'm just saying.
At least,
You know.
hey, you're prepared at least. So like, sure,
I'm
what's
not
your-
prepared at all.
Yeah, what's your first shot? I guess.
Well, my first shot would be God Hand for the PS2.
Hey.
God.
Okay.
God hand for the people. Ignore my Excel.
Ignore
searching.
Excel. Ignore
Okay.
Excel.
Okay, so
But let's talk about bangers, Windows applications, Excel.
Oh yeah, you're just live streaming your Brave search, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
People need to know my history.
Cool.
Okay, so the game now in question is God Hand. I can't speak on it. Who can?
Oh, do we have the criteria and or do you have a link to like the shared area?
That's right.
There it is.
Yep.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well,
So
I guess
how culturally relevant is God Hand?
That's a great question. How culturally relevant is God Hand?
I would
right now?
say non-zero because it's most famous for the IGN review because IGN famously gave it a 2 out of 10.
I thought it was a 3 out of 10.
I don't
believe
even
it
know
was
that.
I think it was
That
4.
is
I think it was 4.
I'm gonna look that up.
It's this famous gamer lore that
It got the
IGN
same score as Corey in the House on the Game Boy Advance.
and a way worse score than
Wait,
Imagine
wait.
Party Babies on the Wii.
Please pause for a second. Are
It
you
was a 3 out of
saying
10.
are you saying there is a video game called Cory and the House
Not
for the Game Boy Advance?
It's on the DS, I believe.
What the?
Yes.
Hold
It was okay.
on.
There's a Disney Channel show called
Hold
Corey
on.
in the
Cory
House.
in the House.
Cory in the House? What is this?
Don't you remember the little brother from That's So Raven?
It's a
Grew
cartoon
up to
show.
be.
It's Cory
I think
from
it's the same-
That's So Raven.
I think it's even the same character, and like the dad is like a chef for the president.
Wait. Okay, that's a meme. I was like, if that's the actual game,
It's
I'm
not
so
the actual.
fucking.
No.
I'm so
if you scroll
fucking in.
down, like a few over from where your cursor is,
Okay,
Where's the line?
you
Use a
know.
buster.
use a
the
busta.
line.
Yeah.
He's a buster.
If
What
I've ever
the-
called you a busta, that's what that's from.
Oh my god.
Probably call it a busta.
To comment on the cultural relevancy of God Hand, when I typed in search God Hand IGN review, the first video I see is an IGN video that is 4 minutes and 39 seconds long that says "In defense of God Hand." So maybe
In defense of
that
God
review
Hand.
is very old at this point, and maybe they have hired some people who've played God Hand and were like, wait a minute, because I'm sure they get flack about that shit all the time at
Right.
this point.
Of course, yes.
Like I don't think much about IGN reviews on my day to day. Like it's not really a topic that
It was a bigger thing 15 years ago.
it was a bigger thing 15 years ago.
But that's why I say it's not zero.
Yes.
The other thing is, while it hasn't been super influential in subsequent action games, because there's only been a couple of games that have stolen the like build your own combo
Remember
system.
me?
Remember Me, most famous.
Remember me did it.
Which is probably not a banger. Yet to be determined, I suppose. It did basically. It's kind of the precursor, alongside, what Inafune did with Capcom, towards the later games that Platinum made. Stat, if you're not aware, Clover, the developer, basically after God Hand failed, Capcom shut them down. And they went on to form Platinum Games, who have made Bayonetta.
I also want to point out that they forced Inafune to apologize for making God Hand.
He did.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Inafune apologized for God Hand. He said it was a little bit too self-indulgent in terms of design. It was too much the game that he wanted to make and not the game that people wanted to play.
So
It is very much a cult status game. Like it is
So-
absolutely that
definitely
kind of
not-
game.
Definitely not
And
zero.
that doesn't
then.
that doesn't make it so it has relevancy to a group. It's relevant in the same way that like EVE Online is relevant. Like some people really love this game.
that's an odd comparison, but yeah, I would say
Yeah,
it's.
you know
it's
what I
apt.
mean? Like it's
So I would say that's probably still like below average on this 15-point scale we're giving to this category, but I'd say it's like at least
At least
because even among cult games, it's probably
not even like as popular. It was like, are there better cult hits than God Hand?
like it's a more relevant, popular cult hit than Shadows of the Damned.
sure, yeah.
Yes, and I don't even consider that game as a good one. So
Or
So what number?
what's that one we used to joke about? Child of Eden.
Child of Eden. I like Child of Eden.
Right, but like no
But
one
I
talks
wouldn't
about
put it on
Child
this
of
list.
Eden It's like
No.
Child of Eden's that game that everyone's like, oh yeah, the Res guy made us second that.
He said it's an underrated, or he's heard God Hand is an underrated gem.
It's
said
only
that?
ever seen one copy of it. Hewitt Lover 3 in the comments.
Oh, it's quite good. It's very worth playing. I believe it is available on or was on some sort of PlayStation Network.
Yeah,
Nice.
it was on.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe-
you could
maybe it's gone
get on
now.
PSN. I thought.
Is it still there though? Did they pull it down?
I think it was through the
I
PS3.
guess I could check.
I think all that stuff's still purchasable. It's just like you'd have to buy it on the PS3 and play.
Okay.
Um,
'Cause it-
I've currently been playing through it off and on the Steam Deck.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
how is it, by
Man.
the way? Like, since you have one, like, is it? no?
It's neat. Yeah, it's neat. It's just like it's like a
Mikami.
it's like a
Shinji Mikami
heavier
is the guy.
Switch,
It plays
Yeah,
God Hand
it's-
pretty well.
and yeah, it actually surprisingly well.
Cool.
Okay.
I want to correct something. It wasn't Inafune. It was Shinji Mikami.
Shinji
Yeah.
Mikami, yeah.
That's
So I wanna-
Inafune is
He's Mighty Number
man.
9 man and is no longer welcome in my house.
What?
Okay.
It's
We-
explosions. for
I-
200.
So the real question is, yeah. So based on what you're saying, so like, what would you translate that if 15 is 100%? Like at a
I'd say like a 6.
Yeah, that's fair.
I want to say a 7 because of the Japanese commercials. Are
Japanese
extremely-
commercials are quite solid.
Yes, yes.
Also
Yeah,
has some
but-
cool magazine ads. So
fuck it, I'll check it out. It's a Japanese commercial for Japanese commercial for God Hand.
Good luck on this one.
the magazine ads, if you look at the cover, it's the guy punching a guy. The ads in the magazine, the fist is going through the guy's mouth and out the back of his head.
Yes.
So is this one? Okay, let's do it.
This is for gum. Yeah, this is for coffee because latte. These are just
Wait,
Japanese.
is it the first one? God Hand commercial, PS2, Japanese font.
Yes, I believe that's right. Just click the first one, top left.
Hold on, I gotta stop the smooth jazz I had playing on the other one.
You have smooth jazz. Oh my god.
That's not coming through.
Perfect. It should be very, very low in comparison. Japanese commercial for God Hand.
No. The
It's
top
already
left.
there.
Yeah,
That
that one.
one.
Yeah,
All right, send it.
Here we go. We can't hear this.
Watch it on actual.
What the
その
fuck?
右拳が神の力を宿すという行け
I mean, okay, this is a Japanese commercial for a video game in 2006. Like, this is not like that crazy.
I love
And You
it.
wouldn't consider things.
臭くね本当にマジで後ろのやつすごいんだけどだって買ってんのがしいたけ
This commercial is
What?
almost 20, well, 15 years old at least now.
yeah.
What the fuck is happening?
So the spanking thing's actually a thing in the game. Like, it's a finishing move.
Yeah, this is gameplay.
Yeah,
the-
that happens.
味付けたまま閉めちゃった
This game had a weird, like, some of the cult following around this game, to speak over this commercial. Like, one, the actual combat is very good. Like, for a PS2 game,
Jesus
like, it's
Christ.
really well designed. It's very difficult in some spots, and, like, can kind of feel a little bit like, there's not a lot of checkpoints here. There maybe should be more of them, but, like, you know, you take what you know, that's part of it. And, like, it has a weird sense of style and humor, and, like, that ending theme song is really good, and so it's got a lot of things going for it all at the same time, I think.
Yeah.
Holy hell. Okay, that was that
a
was
very
sure
complete-
something.
It's a very complete game. It's a very full experience.
Yes.
I believe it's one of, if not the first game I ever rented from GameFly.
Oh, jeez, I haven't thought about GameFly in a long time.
That is
Remember GameFly?
I believe they're still around, actually.
They are still around. I talked
Yeah.
to someone about GameFly a year ago.
you talked to someone about Gamefly a year ago.
Yeah.
It might have been me.
No.
You know, like we
It's
talked.
long.
Oh, okay.
No. Maybe we did talk about
I mean,
GameFly.
I'm
a year
sure
ago.
you and I have talked about GameFly.
We've definitely talked about GameFly in some capacity, but God Hand was one of those games, and it was like a great rental game because it is also not that long, if I remember, and kind of. It's also very famous for, like, in terms of difficulty levels of, like, you finish the game in normal, and like the last couple fights in normal in this game are really hard. Like the game does ramp up in difficulty, and you're like, all right, I can finish this game in normal. Let me try it in hard. Let's just see what it's like. And like the first two like weakling enemies just destroy you. Like it is the difficulty scale from normal to hard is insane. Like it's really something.
Nice.
There is a gameplay mechanic where you have a little bar that is your difficulty level, and as you're playing and doing good, the bar starts to fill up. You go from I think 1 to die. So there's like a 1, 2, 3, and then there's level die. At each level, basically, all the enemies get stronger. They start doing like different attacks, getting access to new moves that they didn't have access to before. And there's also another thing. There's like random demons that will pop out while you're fighting people. So after you kill a guy, they'll just get back up, and they're like a demon monster creature thing. And those things are extremely hard to kill.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's really fun.
It's like in terms of comp, like it's not just like, oh, you mash on square. It's like you make these custom combos, and those combos have like guard breaks, and you incorporate like grapples and throws, and like you have to really it's like you have to think about the combat more than you would think you would in like a Devil May Cry or a, you know, it's certainly a Dynasty Warriors or just an action game of that era. Like it is a very different style of character action game that really stands apart from the game, like those games of that time.
So it's controls by itself. So just the controls themselves. Like what are we talking here? Like is it good? Are there parts that are unpolished? It's like what are we talking?
I would say age more than unpolished. Like it certainly feels like a PS2 game in its movement, and an arcadey one. Because it's not like it, you know, it's pre GTA 4, so there's not that like same Nico Bellic weight to every step you take.
Like, when you move, you move like how you would expect to move in a game.
Yeah,
right.
But it's a 3D game that does not use the right analog stick for the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You use it for dodging.
It's locked behind. The camera perspective is very Resident Evil 4 like. Like it's very much that kind of quarter over the shoulder kind of thing. So the cameras has the enemy in focus rather than you.
Does it come to the game's detriment? Any?
No, I don't believe so. Having played it recently,
there are some times where you get like kind of attacked from multiple angles, where
that's
it's like
true.
You're in a small environment.
I would love for the camera to pull out and play like a Devil May Cry. But,
one thing it does do though, it makes walls invisible if it would impede your vision.
Okay.
Yes. It's not imperfect. It's not a perfect solution, but it works well enough. Like there are some design kludges in this game that go a long way to help it. But this is definitely a game where like the boss fights are a major highlight.
Yes.
They're very challenging, and they require you to really think about, really think about the combat and really think about how you approach and string your attacks together, and like when you dodge and how to dodge, and you have to do all that stuff correctly.
I would say if you can get the hang of the controls in the first like 5 minutes, it's like it controls really well. But it is definitely something you have to like adjust to if you're used to the way modern games control.
Yes.
Yeah, I played this game a long time ago, and so games still sort of controlled like that at the time. So it's, I mean, like I said, Gamefly. So it's probably harder to get to. Like I'd probably have a harder time picking it up today. But I also am good at getting the hang of controls of weird games from that era, so I'm a little biased. So what are we on?
I guess I'm more
we're on
so
the control out of.
I'm more so asking like, is it broken on any fundamental level control
I don't
wise?
think it's broken. I just think it's old.
Yeah, it's old.
Like I would say, depending on how pedantic we want to be there, I'd say maybe not the full 25, but it certainly like more than 20. Like a 23. Like if you like just shave a couple of points off for being like not like, it's not like perfect a dream. I think of it as like the top standard of video game controls, but they're good and they serve the game perfectly.
I guess like even in its genre, like, can you? I guess like what are its like contemporaries?
It's really unique in that there's not a whole lot of 3D beat 'em ups that like
that over the shoulder view.
Yeah, because it's basically a 3D version of like a 2D beat 'em up.
Yeah. And
Right.
the only other game I can think of besides Remember Me with this sort of like combat system is Absolver.
What about Mad World?
I was thinking Mad World, and I would
forgot
say
about Mad World.
I think God Hand controls and plays better than Mad World does.
Really?
Yeah.
Because is it motion controls? Minus
we haven't talked about Mad World yet. I don't know if
Yeah.
we will, but I'm not.
Wow.
I do like Mad World, but
I'm gonna put a spoiler warning in here. I'm not a big fan of Mad World.
okay.
I like the way it looks.
Yes.
But
Guarantee it.
Kind of like meh on it. Like,
kind of meh on it too. But
so
I think
you-
it is similar in control to that game. You know.
Okay.
Sure.
you're
yeah.
saying God Hand is like the better version of that game?
Yes, I would say
It's
so.
a snappier, kind of quicker, like more fluid version of that game. Yeah.
Damn, that's yeah. Because
It doesn't have as many bells and whistles. But
That's my only
it's
frame of
a-
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really there's not a whole lot like it.
Mhm.
All right, okay. So like is 23 like a good consensus in that one then?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'd
me
say it's
too.
maybe a little high, but like, yeah,
You want to do 20?
I would say 20.
All right.
Okay.
Because I guess it's being compared to like, if you do want to compare to like 3D action games in general, then yeah, I'd say 20 is
Yeah,
certain.
it's not like I would say like Devil May Cry games probably controlled better than this.
Sure.
Like
Oh, for sure.
they
Yeah.
were just a little more ahead
Yeah,
of.
it's just those
ahead
are
of
kind
curve.
of doing other things.
Yes,
as well.
they are doing other things.
All right,
Yeah.
so system utilization.
So
I
like
would
how well do
say-
the given systems work? So like, it gives you a set of controls. So like how well are we taking advantage? Like is everything getting use out of it? Can you just beat the game with like a single strategy?
No,
You
Can you-
use everything.
Right.
You have to,
So-
or you die.
So literally, the premise of the combat is you build your combos, and by that I mean, there's a combo that is press square 5 times in a row, so you get to choose literally each kind of punch you're doing every time you press square. There's like for like press X, you get to choose what move that is. For pressing triangle, you get to choose what move that is, and you basically build how your character fights. And boy, that's certainly not running great.
yeah, that is not the frame rate that this game normally runs
Right.
at.
What the fuck is this?
It is a classic.
Putting the clown back in
It is.
You
And
see how he did that like overhead? You see how he did that like overhead strike and sort of broke guard? You know, for the time, that was a fairly
jeez.
games did not do that. Action games did not
how
do
many
that.
games let you break guard nowadays?
That are like single player. Actually, no. And then he
Yeah.
kind of goes into this grab, and you have to like alternate that stuff and like do it intelligently.
Oh, okay. The local Discord stream is low frame rate, but the actual YouTube.
Oh,
is
yeah.
running
Because they're
fine.
watching it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you also there's like super moves that you get with a roulette wheel that you basically get to choose like which super you do. And yeah, I would say more so than like a lot of games, like even like, you know, Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, which you can kind of pick a strat and go. God Hand really kind of wants you and forces you to utilize everything.
I definitely wouldn't say you can pick a strat and go on Bayonetta.
Not to maximize your score, but to like just
Get through the game.
Just
Win-
just
get through the
get through.
game.
Mhm.
So
yeah,
this you
having
can't-
just done something similar in Bayonetta 3.
Oh, it's a spanking move.
Yeah, like seeing even this low frame rate gameplay of this game again, I'm like, yeah, this was a really solid game. Like
Game
this
fucking
was
rules.
this game kind of owns.
Damn. What is happening? I'm just so lost.
This is a challenge mission in which you're trying to beat all these wackadoo characters.
Yeah,
And she's like rolling around or trying to get away from you.
yeah, the style. Yeah, this game also had like a lot of style to it. It took a lot of the like you can see the button prompts. This is post Resident Evil 4 Capcom, I believe.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah.
very late
This is
PS2 game.
like
Well,
right
recent.
after Shinji Mikami
Damn.
made Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. And so it has those kind of like kick button prompts, but they're like super zany, weird finisher moves instead of the Leon kick.
Nope. Okay, I got it.
I would say
Also,
system
you see-
utilization, if nothing else, is very, very high in this game.
Right.
So like, I mean, like, yeah, within its own context, like, it's either using everything, squeezing every last drop out of it, or like leaving some room to be desired. So it's for kind of y'all to determine. Is it could you improve on it, or is it just like no, I can't think of anything?
I think it's max.
I feel like exactly. It'd be a hard game to make a sequel to. I think.
Yeah.
Even if I really want it, it'd be tough to imagine what you do with this.
Mm-hmm.
To stretch it.
It'd
out
be
even
hard
more.
to do it right twice.
Yeah.
All right. In that case, it's presentation. So conveying, how good is it at teaching you the game? How is it conveying its information? All that jazz. This is an 8% max.
I would say the only mark I have against it is I remember at the time, and remember I was much younger at the time, I remember the menu for building the combo stuff to be a little cumbersome.
Yeah.
Like because remember we're in that era of like there is no quick use item menu. It's like you have to press start and go into a menu and then click the potion to refill your health and then press start again and go back into the game. Like it's that. And so yeah, like assigning moves and getting them and like doing all that stuff, it's a little clunky. But other than that, in terms of like how it explains how to play the game,
Fuck.
I think it does a pretty good job.
The other thing I would say, one, like having playing through it now, but having like reloaded a save I started like many months ago. There's a lot of items you pick up, and all it does is Gene like whistles, and I'm like, I don't know what this does.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right.
Some of it might be an instruction book that would help, or like restarting the game. But
Yeah, because there is a tutorial for that stuff at the front. But yeah,
Right.
if you're reloading an old save, I can imagine this being very confusing.
Mm-hmm.
so
He
not
Gene does
perfect,
like the
but
whistle.
He does a lot.
but
Yeah,
Nice.
I would, but like it's not terrible by any measure.
It's not terrible.
I'd say he does a good job.
Like
6,
a
7.
six.
Six?
Yeah.
Sounds right.
6?
Mm.
You going? All right.
Yeah.
So now things like sound design. How are we talking?
like that.
The music in this game rips.
Yes.
More than anything. I mean, sound effects sound great, and like
When you
all of
hit
the
a
like,
guy in the balls, it makes a ding sound.
when you punch a guy into the sky, you get the like anime like blinking
Oh yeah,
out
the
of
little star
existence.
thing. Yeah.
Star thing that sounds really satisfying.
It is
But
a
it's
fun
him-
whistle whenever he whistles.
He does a fun whistle when you pick up an item. Yes.
Voice
um,
acting's pretty like good hokiness.
Yes, it's very hokey.
If you
Is this
like
one of
Bayonetta
those-
voice acting, it's of
Yeah.
that ilk.
Yep.
Is this one of those games where like the Japanese version is also in English, or
I have no idea.
like, the way that Bayonetta is?
Oh my god, I love this.
This is kind of spoiler stuff, and I haven't gotten this far. So
What the fuck? What?
Notice he's wanted on the magazine.
look away.
I don't know what the hell I'm.
I mean,
Okay.
it's not a lot. There's not a lot of story happening here. Like to be fair.
Sure.
I like this sense of and he just starts beating
Yeah.
him up.
No,
Okay.
it is. I mean, if you like Platinum games and their ilk, this is
Yeah.
basically the precursor to them.
It is kind of like the first
Gorilla
Platinum
sequence.
game, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see Beautiful Joe is probably.
Beautiful Joe as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's fair.
It's very funny that Okami is such a departure in so
Yes.
many ways.
And it's also very much a classic.
Yes.
All right, so
But yeah, I'd say it sounds 5.
The five, yeah, full 5%.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Visuals?
Targeting up, visuals are probably the only thing I can weigh in on because it looks like it's just
looks
going for
like a gorilla to me.
Is this a
Looks
is
like
this
a
good
gorilla with
looking
a.
PS2 game?
I assume it's.
I would say Shadow of the
style
Colossus is kind of the
Best looking.
apex, and I would say like based on just fidelity, no, but it's a later PS2 game, so it doesn't look like garbage.
Mhm.
I've
Jesus
been
Christ.
also playing Suikoden 3, which looks like garbage.
Mhm.
It also
This
keeps a
looks way
pretty
better than
consistent frame rate.
Yes.
Which on the PS2 was not guaranteed.
Hmm.
Like they prioritize frame rate in a way that a game like this should.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I'm looking at this now, and I'm like, boy, these walls sure are gray and plain. Like,
Yeah, like the environments
Right.
are actually very ugly, but
Right. But
I
like the
mean-
character design's pretty unique, and
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying like, they're probably targeting like just realism is what it looks like. I don't see any kind of like stylization to the characters. Like if they could,
but
have
also
the
it's a
option to
gorilla
make,
with a wrestling mask.
I mean, like
Yeah.
I'm saying if they had the option to like make this look like this will be a real looking gorilla, this will be a real looking guy,
Yeah,
I think they would take it. I don't see any kind of like we're gonna do a
Yeah.
comic book style. We're gonna.
It's
do
not like Okami,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
and Beautiful Joe, which are the other two games they made, which are very silent.
Ergo, like yeah, you're missing your mark quite a bit. You're just limited by the time, which is just what it is.
You'd say like
So yeah, I would even say like Gen 9 is where you're probably just beginning to even approach like people looking like people. Like the rest kind of just.
it looked like a gorilla to me.
Yeah, I could tell what he was.
That's why it's only like 5% though. Like yeah,
Two.
can't like two or three. Honestly, it's just.
I'll take 3.
You know what? Yeah, I'm happy to give it 3.
Some of
And
its
then-
parts, I would say max.
Yeah.
Like God Hand is when I think of like cool ass games. That's one
Yeah,
of
it's
them.
definitely one of them.
It's got great
Alright.
music.
And then the emotional. So the subject sounds like everyone's on this game is a thing.
Yes.
Subjective. I forgot we had subjective fun. I was going to make a joke about. We promised the stream is going to be at least 6% of subjective fun. Stay tuned. I forgot to remember that we made one of these categories subjective fun, as opposed to objective fun.
I mean, you can't
Or
be
subjective
objective.
sadness, or
You know what?
I think this game's very fun.
He's completely right. I really should just put fun. That's
Fun,
all it
yeah.
is.
The fun factor.
What's the fun factor? It
Fun
is- I
factor
would
is
give
the
this a full-
better term.
Yes, let's bring back Game Pro, fun
Yep.
factor, funny hair, grinning, 100%.
And-
I think this game is very fun to play.
And then story. Okay, so it's story
Always very
in terms of like yeah,
Yeah.
like
Am I going to cry at the end? No. Am I
No.
going to be infinitely entertained at the end because Elvis got like knocked through the floor and landed on a statue of Elvis and then walked through it and was like and then went back to smoking a cigar?
Jesus, man, what are you doing?
This game has a it kind of has like the Bollywood ending because they do basically everyone does a dance
Dance,
number at
yeah.
the end.
Oh yeah, it's like what like Bayonetta
Right.
does basically.
Yeah.
This is the game.
Clover was platinum before platinum. Yeah, maybe.
Sort of
Yeah,
kind of.
they literally are.
I mean,
Like,
Makes me want
little
that.
I guess it depends on are we talking about what it's trying to do or
the
like,
whole
really
whole
good.
nine. Is it? Here's our premise. Here's what we're writing about. Is it at least well written for what you are trying to do? Because we don't need this big grandiose
Then I
story.
guess yes.
if it's meant to entertain, then yeah, I would say
Yeah,
it does
I
that.
think it nails the goal.
It's very much akin again like this is like if every character was like you know how like Bayonetta and her friends are like weird and irreverent.
Yes.
It's like if every character was like that
Yeah.
yeah.
instead of like the bad guys being like speaking Latin.
Yeah, the Henry VIII is not a bad guy in this game, but it's a good video game story. Maybe
Any
he should be.
Well, they're like
any full potential like just like in narrative flaws? Like does the story tell you one thing and then it just
I haven't
end up doing
finished
another?
it, so that would be up to.
The story kind of tells you nothing.
The story is like you're a guy. You play as Gene. You get your hand cut off. You get a new hand called the God Hand, and now you're gonna go beat up demons.
You like
Okay.
the person at the what's the girl's name who attaches the god hand to you?
Olivia.
Olivia, and like she's gonna like cut your hand back off if you don't do something for her, right? Isn't that the story?
Yeah.
Boy.
I would say I find the cutscenes very entertaining.
Yes.
So, if that's what they're going for, I think they hit the mark.
Yeah.
Is it like I don't know if it's
I guess
the
what I'm-
apex
I get-
of comedy writing in games, but honestly, I'm
No,
trying to-
not even that, because anyone finds any level of entertainment from anything. It's more like, does the story kind of say like the God Hand can only do X and then Y happens, and you're like, what? Or like, does that not happen? Is it just like they don't really?
kind of does things.
That's in the
Alien
service
does
of the game, I
stuff.
think the story is perfectly in line with the gameplay.
Yeah.
In
I mean,
that
you got-
the whole
there's-
thing is a big ridiculous farce.
Yeah, and nothing that makes you go like, wait a minute, like this isn't adding
Yeah,
up
like,
here.
I didn't
Like,
think about it and go like, oh, this is stupid.
Yeah.
In which case, like, fuck it. So, do you want to just max it out? Just simple story. Does it well, entertaining? Okay.
Story delivers on it, sure.
In which case, all this has to do is not score a 0. And it's,
It actually, the threshold is 80 to make it.
yeah.
70.
It literally just has to not score, and it's 3 points left.
Was it good for its time? If you ask IGN, they'd say no.
Yeah, some people
If you
would
ask
say
most
no.
everybody else,
I'd say yes. It's good
yeah.
for its time.
I'd say it's good now.
And good now, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It aged
So
well.
Sid,
It's
more to help protect like games of like the earlier gens where, by now standards they've been one-upped, but at the time it was made, this was like pushing the boundaries.
It's still so unique.
the thing about For Its Time is that because this is such a late PS2 game, by the time you were looking at this game, okay, let me just actually get the actual release date out here. When did God Hand?
It's early 06, right?
To-
06, late 06.
So was an Xbox 360 out? Were people have them in their houses at this point?
In what year? It's 2005 or later would be.
I guess so, yeah.
September, October 06, the 360 was about to come. Oh no, the 360 had been out for a year.
Yeah,
Okay.
2005 was what the Power Ranger fuck is happening.
And now you're really getting the spoilers. Don't look.
Yeah, don't look
No.
at this. This is.
I'm already
real-
like I'm in. Like, so
looking
where
away.
do I sign up? Where do I get in there?
This guy's doing the mashed potato.
Holy hell! Alrighty. So it sounds like like I don't even know what number to assign. It's just if it's literally did its own thing,
I'm
and like
watching
pretty
this
much
muted.
only Mad World and or Anarchy Reigns are like probably the only true successor to those things.
Yeah, there's definitely an Anarchy Reigns vibe to it. I
Probably
would say
enough,
the
maybe
only
I
thing, the only thing I would say about For Its Time is that as a late PS2 game, there were definitely some, some Xbox 360 games that existed, some newer gen games that existed that looked considerably better than this. Like we did ding it quite a bit for target visuals, and like. So yeah, For Its Time, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of like just visual drag, but in terms of like the way it plays, I think it's excellent.
In which case,
I think that was kind of the debate
Yeah.
to its quality back then too, right? It was like
yeah, like it's a new PS2 game, but even a new PS2 game looks a little old by the time
Right.
this game comes out.
and I think a
will
lot of
preface
the
that.
reception was that at the time was like, we now have the new fancy Xbox 360 with
Yeah.
its sweat physics. We don't need
Yes, we'd already
Gene
seen
and his
sweaty
God
Cody.
hand.
We'd already seen sweaty Shaq
Right.
in NBA 2K6 or whatever, and so Gene did not look good anymore. I think it's yes. So I would maybe knock it a point or something for this, just for that. But
even
other
then,
than that-
81 is fine. Honestly, I'm
If
almost
God
kind
hands,
of
if God hands on this list, then I think we got a good system.
God hand. I kind of wish I had like kept the numbers like off to the side.
I mean, you could probably
earlier.
go back through the VOD.
you could just watch.
Oh,
this
yeah,
shit
yeah,
again.
yeah, you're
the
right.
creation.
No,
of
there's
the
nothing else. I can't do anything else.
Is this doc shareable, by the way? Just so I can like look at it while.
Oh
you have
no, like
something else on
this
the
is
screen?
like this is like a local file currently.
Okay, gotcha.
Because like it's not done yet. I haven't added like
It's
the
not. It's not a
generating
Google
to
Doc.
it.
It's an
long
Excel
term.
document.
Yeah, but
Remember, it's not a Google Doc. It's an Excel document, so it's not like.
Yeah.
I will now like just however start offhand, not very start keeping track of like what things got, because I think that's just useful data to have just because. Okay, yep. God hand got 81. I have to go back and dig for
that
these
was
scores
my,
again. Yeah, that was a good one. That was yeah.
It's a good game.
But yeah,
leave the
it's,
floor open to other people.
I will preface the visual. If your style is realism, as in I want it to look like real life, that's here on back, you're gonna be taking some L's, as in like Gen 8 and back. You're taking some L's there. Even Gen 9, until it looks like real life, you're not getting a 5. If your goal is realism,
I don't know if I agree with that, unless you like
No, like
for games that are aiming for realism.
Yeah,
For
if
games that are
you're-
like
if
doing
you're
a
in-
stylistic thing.
yes. If your intent is to like it is real life and it doesn't look like real life, you're not getting a 5.
What about an FMV game that is real life?
Ooh.
Like, does Mortal
Actually-
Kombat 1 get full
Actually-
points because Kano is just a dude?
Yeah, but those pixels
Yeah.
though, man, like the
Yeah.
bitrate is so bad.
It's so low.
Yeah,
resolution.
like unless it's like I cannot distinguish this from real life to your game, like you cannot get a 5 if your goal is realism. Like we still have not realized that even to this day. So you gotta. That's where style will pretty much prevail over chasing the graphical shit. Anywho, any games next on the list? I mean, he asked me to add like Gen 4 and 8, so I assumed you had something in mind.
Oh yeah. Let's do Gen 8 next.
All right,
First one that came to mind was Alien Isolation.
Oh,
There it is.
You're on your
Right.
own. I've not played this. I know it's very good, but I have not played it.
So this might actually, it won't get a 5 because it didn't look like real life, but boy, it looked
good
really
looking
fucking good.
yeah, like it looks very good, but like
It looks
yeah.
like the movie. I mean, look at that door. Look at the lighting on.
Yeah, dude. This
Look at the
sounds-
lighting on that bald guy.
But then I look at that guy and go like, oh yeah, this is a video game. Like I
But
don't
like,
go like.
but like, I'm a bald guy. And the lighting doesn't ever look that good on me.
And then
Like,
let
this
me,
game looks
let
better
me
than
go
real
this.
life. This game looks like the best movie ever made.
Oh damn!
You're right. It does look like Alien.
Why
Yeah.
look like real life? You could look like the movie Alien.
When did this come out? Like what's its
2014.
Yeah, this is a 2014 sleeper hit.
Boy, you seem like you were like prepared for this in some way.
No,
That's-
I actually just know that.
Okay.
Like, there's one thing
Holy shit,
my
this is back on
brain
the
is good
360.
at. Yeah, it was like made with PS4 in mind, but it had like a down port for everything.
All right, let's do PS4 then.
Is there
I
a
just
PS3
want to.
version of this? There has to be,
PS1?
right?
I don't
PS3.
think so.
There's
It has to
PS3.
be.
There's not a PS5. I don't think.
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah,
there's
PS3.
Xbox
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is.
Let's.
Yeah, it was
like-
like we'll make this for because this is
Yeah.
2014. This is like the year after the PS4 launched.
Yeah.
So
Bro, it's on the Luna. It's on the Amazon Luna. It's on Amazon Luna.
Well, it's a Sega game, so yeah, I guess it would be on Amazon Luna.
also
also on
most
the
of the
Nintendo
game
Switch.
is not cutscenes, and in fact, I don't even recognize this cutscene or this ball guy.
I remember the ball guy. Okay, I lied.
I remember that bald guy.
Yeah.
I think he's Irish.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty strong, but like for nowadays, like all it's gonna take is like that next piece of hardware to show us like, hey, we can just like make fucking movies, but they're video games for us to be like, ooh, this is dated.
Sure.
Oh, now I know. I don't remember.
He dies in 7 seconds. Spoilers for the opening cutscene of Alien Isolation.
Again, it looks like Alien
Right.
in both.
That's true.
visual and
Alien
tone.
did have 1970s special effects.
It did.
All right, so let's starting
Alright.
with its controls.
Well, what about effect on gaming culture?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, starting with fun
What's up?
factor. No.
Uh,
Effect on.
Talking about gaming culture, it was
Force
a game
time.
that came out in 2014. It was not Destiny.
yeah. So it didn't get much buzz.
It didn't
It's
feel-
definitely like cult status.
Yeah.
So
Like,
this is like
it has a
I
bunch of
know.
people. Whenever anyone, it has enough of an effect on culture that multiple times, Sega and or whoever owns the license has teased a game, with implications that it was going to be a follow-up to Alien Isolation, and then it was like a phone game or curve battler.
Every time someone mentions like the Alien franchise getting another game, everyone wants it to be Alien Isolation
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's a cult status again. Like we're talking
right.
kind of like gold. So what out of this is extremely relevant to not how it, and we gave Godhand like what a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
So is it a better cult game than God Hand
6.
is now the question, or like a 6?
Was it more of a-
As a cult game, I think God Hand probably has a more dedicated following. but
Yeah.
Alien Isolation being 8 years newer probably has a bigger following. Plus, being an Alien game, and like Alien fans are their own breed of weirdos that no one really talks about.
Unless you're on this Discord, in which case, like, it's a
Sure,
very
yes.
very
Yeah,
popular.
I
game.
wish Beige was here to
Yeah.
at gunpoint force you to make this maxed out. But I would say like a 6. I would say like it's also like it's kind of it and I haven't played it, but I think it's Outlast, or like the like
Outlast?
what people talk about as far as the like hide under a desk horror.
Like indie horror games, like
Yeah,
indie horror.
in the wake of Amnesia.
This
Yeah.
kind of hits that as
Yeah.
a
He
to
doesn't
me like a
this
AAA
game.
version. Is it AAA?
But this feels like more of
Yeah.
like a But this feels like more of a video game that like Amnesia. I've played through Amnesia. It's a lot of like walking around and interacting with objects and
Right.
like, oh, the spooky guy. Whereas like this has like more mechanics. in it,
Yes,
doesn't
but
it?
I'm just talking about like where people kind of frame it in the dialogue
Yes.
of its effect on gaming is that it's kind of one of the like point, like as far as modern horror games go.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's one of the
I
ones
mean-
that I think, maybe I'm biased as a fan, but I think people point to it as like, hey, people are like, they don't make good horror games anymore. People are like, well, what about Alien Isolation? Even though that game is 8 years old now, so maybe they aren't talking about it these days.
I might also be
years old
biased
now?
just because people mention it all the time here, but like outside of like this little pocket, it was like, nope, I can't recall reading any news. Can't recall. Like I only know this. I knew this game existed back in the day when it came out, just because I had a friend who was an Alien fan. If it were not for him, nope, no advertisements, no news, just sort of showed up.
I mean, the team that made it got disassembled pretty soon after they realized it wasn't going to make a bunch of money. So, but there have been multiple games where people have said, hey, people who made Alien Isolation worked on this game, like, you know, as like a, hey, if you liked Alien Isolation, you know, hey, here you go, come play Observer, or not Observation, I think.
Oh yeah.
And then like, oh, there's some Kickstarter game about dinosaurs. They're like, oh, if you like, we've got some people
Ark?
working Alien Isolation. No, not Ark. Like a game that I don't think have said anything about since the Kickstarter for. But it's again not like huge tentpole games that people are talking about Alien Isolation about, but it has people that talk about it. So I would say like
what is this Bioshock thing she's doing? Why is she stabbing herself?
That's a health syringe.
but yeah,
Alrighty
I,
then. So
I would say like below average on gaming culture, but like it's like a relatively well-known cult game that has its fans, me being one of them, considerably.
which like if a fan of this game is like saying that, like I mean I think that's a pretty like an honest take. If you're pretty much saying like, yeah, it wasn't very popular. I just like it. But like, what about the gameplay itself? So like, how are we talking?
Controls. I mean, it is
FPS.
Yeah, it
So
is
I think it controls
FPS
pretty
through and
well.
through. You sprint, you right, you shoot right, you hide right. It might maybe sometimes it's a little finicky in getting into hiding places, but beyond that, like it's I guess depending on how unremarkable you figure like the modern first person shooter game can be.
But like, yeah, that's what it's setting out to do. Like, here's what we're setting out to do. Here's your controls. They work.
Yeah, it's
This
like
is the industry standard of how this game should pretty much handle.
right. Yeah, like it's your first person hiding from stuff horror game, but with guns that control like guns. Nothing felt bad from my recollection.
And like, pretty much, you can release it. I can release this game now. I'm like, yep, that's in line with the standard.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. This is just the standard.
Yeah, if it came out
For a
today
long
playing the
time.
way it played, I'd be like, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
So
And then-
maybe from being not remarkable, it wouldn't get like
No, because I'm
Oh,
I'm
sure.
talking about the I'm talking about just itself, the controls
Okay.
itself, and then like the systems utilizations, like the hiding, all the
Sure.
what are you tacking onto it? How does it all work? Your interfaces, like all
Okay.
that other stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned tacking on because it does have like a mini crafting system,
Oh no.
which it's just like it's for the most part it's like, oh, you can craft a noisemaker to distract the alien, or you can craft like a thing. It's kind of got
Whoa.
it's not super deep, but it's also not super distracting. I just remember it being there. I mean, like, oh yeah, this is a thing.
It's not a
Um,
crafting game.
Right.
Yeah,
Or it's not even like a resource management. Well, it is a resource.
it is resource
game,
management for sure.
but it's not like, oh, I need to save my 3 things so I can maybe craft a thing, 3 batteries or whatever, in order to craft a thing. It's usually like, I need this item, whatever materials I have, I'll just craft the thing real quick and then use it.
Seem like popping all this.
Okay. So it's just like it's a nicety almost. Like you can just I can get an extra flare or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing, a common complaint, as Hewitt Lover has mentioned, it is a lot of hiding because the alien, you cannot kill the alien. And the only things you can do are distract the alien, run from the alien, and eventually you get stuff that lets you attack the alien without killing it, but getting it to go away from you. So frankly, I love it. It is one of my favorite games ever. But I don't begrudge people who it's like not their thing if they're not into because I would say it's a pretty slow paced game.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's not what you're looking for in a horror game like that, then I understand people who begrudge it.
I would
Also,
ding it here then.
people
with
said
that.
like Hewitt Lovers also said the AI is broken, which I never encountered, but it was a complaint in some reviews.
It can be broken if you make it do certain stuff. I've seen people run around a table with like the table's in between them and the alien, and it's like, cue the Benny Hill theme song of the alien trying to figure out how to get around a table when like anything in a movie, it would jump over the table and get you. And so in that regard, like I've seen like the AI kind of like weird out and do stupid stuff like that, or like go into an event, pop out of the event, go back into an event, pop back out a few seconds later in the exact same spot, doing it back and forth. So I've seen it like bug out every now and again, but it's never been. When I played it, I never experienced broken AI with Alien.
I think it's also really unrelentless. Like if you make a noise and it is within the general vicinity, it'll beeline to where you were. And so I think some people take umbrage with it being very mean. And also like sometimes you'll hide in a locker and like the alien will like randomly check lockers sometimes and it'll, like rip the door open and kill you. And it's just like, I think people thought that the game would be like, or based on how game mechanics normally work, you'd think like, oh, I've hidden in here in time, the alien shouldn't be able to find me and get me. But that's not always guaranteed, because sometimes it like the AI will see you get in the locker and then get you.
Also go for
and you'll
the
think,
yeah, it's not just like, oh, you got out of sight for a few seconds, I just lost you.
right?
Bad deal.
Yeah. So, which again, like it's really mean and hard. Not
Hey, that's
like impossible, but it's.
It sounds to me like the kind of standard that feels like standard stealth game.
Does
Like,
this gun work? So this gun can't kill the alien?
So there are other people on the ship, humans, that like usually rove in troops, and the gun definitely works on them. And there's also robots who a bullet will usually kill a person in 1 or 2 shots. A robot will take a bunch more. And so
Yeah,
the
that
guns
makes sense.
aren't useless. But the other thing is a gunshot will let the alien know that you're around. So
Does
one of my
the
favorite
alien
things in
actually
the
go
game-
after other targets, or is it
Yes.
no? I'm
Yes, he
always
does.
going to
So
choose
one
you.
of my favorite memories in the game is there was a
Yeah.
bunch of people on one end of a hallway, and the alien. There's a bunch of vents in the ship, that both you and the alien can crawl in. And I saw one visual tell that the alien is nearby is you'll see like alien slime coming from the vent in the ceiling. And so I knew an alien was nearby because there was ceiling slime, and there were people on the other side of this hallway that I was on. So I killed 2 birds with 1 stone by getting up, sprinting. Because when you sprint, the alien's like, there's someone there, and it like dropped down to start chasing me. I ran past the humans who were like, who was that? And then as I turned the corner, I heard screaming because the alien caught up to those humans and decided to eat them instead of me.
Does the alien?
That was incredible.
Are other people on the ship sort of breaking the rules while you have to follow them? So like, is everyone else kind of like getting to just do whatever they want, be as loud as they want, and not suffer the consequences, whereas you have to be super quiet, be really cautious?
The alien will attack humans if it catches them. It's not, I would not say it's 100% fully the same rules, because the AI can be a little like, shouldn't the alien hear those people? But it was like never a problem, like not a notable problem to me. Where, because like, as I said, like you could kind of exploit it so that once you drew the alien to people, it'd catch them. But also like, if you run into a group of people and that you know the alien is nearby, you'll usually eventually have the alien catch them if enough time passes.
Yeah. So systems, so all is said and done, every weapon it gives, every crafting system it throws at you, like all useful to the max, or is there just some stuff where you're just kind of like, I didn't.
I have like an overabundance of items that I didn't really use. I didn't craft that much. Other than that, I don't know. I think everything works.
Nothing where you're just kind of like, this is just here just because you didn't really.
I would say like the crafting system was maybe a little undercooked, but beyond that,
it's like a 19.
I can't really. Sure.
Afterthought.
Like,
say I'd like a 19.
Yeah, it's like just a little bit of fluff, but other than that, like, good job.
As far as games with tacked on mechanics go, like Alien Isolation is not one I consider.
And then, conveying its information is everything. It's the same question. How does it convey its information?
Pretty well. Like, I never recall having any trouble navigating around the ship or not knowing where to go, not knowing what I had on me. Pretty sexy UI.
It's got a map.
Sounds like an endorsement.
I would say,
unless
maybe because like you can hide under desks and the alien will like not look under every desk. Like it's definitely a known mechanic, but it doesn't, like, you're not 100% told that you're safe when you're under a desk or even in like a locker, because you're not really. But I'm sure you could be frustrated if you thought you were safe under a desk and not. So.
But then isn't that just kind of like the gamble? Like, if you're really just running and hiding, you're just kind of gambling that
I don't think it's a problem, but others.
That doesn't sound like a problem though. Fucking sound design. I think like sound design, this thing got its dick sucked for. Yeah,
so good.
I don't even think I have to like. Yeah, I think it's just kind of the consensus was it's very good.
Sure. And visuals, I mean, if you're saying the human models are slightly slimy, so it doesn't get a 5.
Not even that. Alien, the movie. Let's have a look-see. Show me.
You're gonna have to look at 1979. Because
let's get another Alien.
They made a couple of these.
Because 1979. This is based off the 79 movie. So.
And like the ship itself looks like something out of the movie completely.
Fuck you, YouTube. Don't really care, but like I do not turn on this game and then go like, this is what I'm looking at. Like we're not there yet, and it's just what it is.
You're spoiling the end of the movie. I mean, it's an old movie, but
but even then, like these are like real props. Like like imagine if like the graphics looked like this.
I mean, look at the game again. Like it. Like
it recreates it.
I need to.
I was like blown away
video
by
game graphics.
Like
but I'm not. You're shooting for. Like I have a direct comparison. I have your movie. So once I look at that game, I go like, I don't know. I
Okay,
can't
we'll
tell.
go back to the
Oh
game.
man, 70s movie trailers look so weird. Trailers for movies are
Okay,
so
I think
strange.
this guy probably took some random clips that I can just hop between. And I think it's almost all in the lighting. That's like something we're still like, it's almost, if this were in the game, like it would not be like all these different light sources doing all these different things as well. This is one of the things we're still not really good at.
So a 4, because it looks really great, but
Yeah,
people
like
still
I
look
would,
like clay people.
I'd give you up to a 4.
So
but
is
yeah.
it basically essential? I guess it's. Oh no, never mind. Like you can get 5s if you try to not aim for realism.
Exactly. Like you're like, hey, here's what we're going for. We hit it. Then I'm like, cool, man. 5. But your target is realism. You can't hit it. You physically cannot. Some of its parts.
I would not give it max because I think it's about 10 hours too long.
What? Wait, what?
It's like a
what?
it's like a 20-hour horror game.
What? Wait, what the fuck?
How long did I play?
How long is this game?
I remember it took me a long time. I think like
8 hours for the full game. Seems like it.
I played it for 13. Didn't feel like a 20 hour. It's like a 10 hour.
how long to beat.com says it averages about 18 to 22 hours.
Holy
depending on how
shit.
much you-
I guess I'm just too fast.
You're just too cool.
Yeah, I remember it. I remember it taking me like over 20 hours to beat, but I did lots of exploring and died a lot. So
So something like this, like for example, it's like you see like the vent. If this were the movie, like this would be a lot of hard shadows, a lot of strong lighting from only like your little light sources. Like it would look vastly different. Like that's almost.
it also
Kinda-
looks
This is
way
the
better.
PS3 version, isn't it?
It's like the telltale sign.
I can't
And
tell.
like
PC
your
RTX
grates,
lighting.
your grates are missing like all their little the little scratches, the little smudges. That's we're getting there, but like yeah, you can just the lighting alone would tell you this is
I
digital.
won't belabor that point, so sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say some of its parts, it was a little bit too long to me. But if people disagree, I mean, I love the game. It's one of my all-time favorites.
I would give target visuals for this game a 5, but like, I don't know.
I think the
We're not gonna
judge
win.
is not gonna.
We're not gonna win that.
Yeah, sure. So.
It's real.
I'll take it
You're
for
going for
It's
the
a
realism.
really, it's a
We can't-
really good looking game.
It is.
Especially for 20.
I'm not gonna
I mean,
say
think
no.
about
like-
2014.
yeah.
Like this is probably an early like PS4, Xbox One. Holy shit! Look at this new hardware kind of game. Like this would look good now, and this game's 8 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at that light coming out of that.
They should do a enhance. Well, I guess you could just get the PC version. I bet that looks pretty good. But I was gonna say they should do a 4K facelift for this game, for the new consoles. But I don't think we're gonna get that.
And it does not matter.
Yeah.
Like whatever, it's a 4.
Yeah.
It's probably fixing to make the list.
It's also a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And a lot of whoa.
yeah.
I'm not trying to get my Jimmy's jammied today.
Hey, I mean, that Haiti mod Beige has made is even more perverse than that.
Xenomorph scene.
Oh, that's right. God.
Also, I've just never
fucking
seen this
fuck.
movie as well.
It's a really
Oh,
good
you
movie.
haven't seen Alien? Oh my
It's a
gosh.
I'm just trying to find
fantastic
like you
film.
know like a scene of like a
Alien
similar
and Aliens are
And-
top of the line.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like I distinctly do not like horror movies because I think they're hokey and dumb. But this is such a good movie.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking. Like, I think they're an event, and like you just get really minimal lighting, really dimly lit. Like you, very few sources, kind of shit
It's
like
a
that.
very dark movie.
Yeah,
And it's a very dark game too.
It's a very dark game.
Go back to the.
and then
Yeah,
yeah,
But,
you're
like dark
gonna get
in
like
tone
greats
as
like
well as just
that.
like
you're-
dark in lighting. Like it's just like half the screen is black all the time in this
Mhm.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of games like that where you're going for realism and like it looks really fucking good. It's just
So does Alien Isolation.
So
Anyway,
It does,
So
it
again,
really-
my
yeah.
point previously, Night Trap is the height of visual.
plumbers don't wear ties. Finally, it's getting it's getting
plumbers don't wear tie. Get its respect, baby.
getting its flowers and its ties.
I just need like a similar type of shot. But either way, it sounds like we're trying to
It's
move
not a
on
first-person movie.
All right. So I'll say 6. I mean, I'd love to give it a 7, but I think
Any
non-emotionally responding, I'd say it's a bit too long, and so I'll say 6.
kind of wears out its
I
welcome.
think RJ is
Almost.
the other person who's played it, so.
So yeah, I'd say 6.
All right. And then fun factor is like I'm almost kind of hearing like a 50-50 split. I'm hearing like some people saying it's boring. You're like, no, this is really good.
I think it has what this game does is that it does what a horror game should do, which is build tension and put you on edge, and then release that tension when you think you're finally safe for a minute. But then you hear the scratching in the vents again, and then you know the alien's back on you. I think to me, playing a horror game that's primary is to try to scare you. I think it just nails it perfectly.
What you're saying is
And-
horror games aren't fun.
but this is fun. It's fun to get scared.
Yeah, like Wait, what do you seek it out for?
They're like 8 years later. There are definitely parts I just remember vividly from like the thrill of it. So I'd say above a 3. 'Cause I had a blast, but sure, I'll take a 4.
Yeah, no, that's just like I was just kind of roughly guessing on that one based on like the comments and the discussion, because it sounds like you kind of acknowledge that like, yeah, some people won't have fun.
It
with
has
this,
its haters.
but
They're wrong, but it has its haters.
and then all right, yes,
I would say the
sucks.
story is like,
It's a sequel to Alien.
yeah, it's an Alien sequel. Not high mark. Like, it's not bad. You're Ripley's daughter, and you went looking for her, and you ended up on a ship that got attacked by but what people did not know was an alien. And then you discover it's an alien, and then the alien chases you, and then more stuff happens. It's like,
So pretty simple. It's just really simple plot, which is fine. So
yeah, but I think it wanted to be more than it was. It just wasn't. It was good. It's not bad, at least. That's something I'd say it's like 50-50, like, you know, a 3 or a 2. It's like, it's not like, it didn't have high ambitions and then didn't necessarily even hit the highest mark. It was like, I don't remember much of the story.
Yeah, neither do I. It's a blur.
Yeah.
So just kind of it's there to pretty much facilitate like go on the ship with Alien.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It's
You're
just,
there for the spooks, not for
not for the
Ripley's
coops.
problems.
Not for the.
Not for the Cooperlings and I.
So like 4 or 5, like what do you?
I'd say like a 3.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would say it's fine. And it's a banger.
And then
So.
I sound like it's pretty high. Like I've heard nothing but like even 2014 for its time. Holy shit! Type
Yeah,
deal.
for its time.
Yeah.
Really good.
I
like-
was blown away. I love it so much because it was so like profound as a like horror experience for me at the time.
Mhm.
And that was, 8 years ago, and RJ played it like 2 years ago, and from what I recall, still really enjoyed it.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, even if it got a 0, it's already hit the threshold. But Alien Isolation
I'm in.
was.
Alright.
I'm
Yeah, you
in.
got one on the board.
83.
Ryan,
Just-
you got any suggestions
Yeah.
or
well,
stats?
Still okay. Stat. Do you have anything? Do you want to get out?
I was gonna
I
say
have
like
something.
let's try an older one. Let's try like Yoshi's Island for like the SNES.
Okay.
Alright. I have not played Yoshi's Island.
Really?
I've only played the Game Boy Advance port.
Same.
Pretty close, I would say.
I mean,
yeah.
a GBA is a basic SNES with.
Yeah.
With worse
But
for sound.
they added voice acting to Super Mario and Super Mario World on GBA.
They did.
Therefore, it's a worse version now.
I could in my head that is canonified in that game, but I know it's not. Like that's the version I played.
Oh my god.
And
I don't think I've ever registered that Mario saying "Mamma Mia" wasn't
Yeah.
in the original SNES
no,
version.
it's
Yeah.
Mario's voice originates from Mario 64.
Cool.
He did not have one before
That's
that.
a
That's
little
all right.
thing.
Yep.
Oh damn. Excel's giving me the old so yeah, I guess I'll just toss it down here.
You could put it where those two gentlemen are, and that could be like the docket for the game we're discussing at the moment.
Good Zach. You know what? Sometimes people have really good ideas, and then there's me.
You know, you do take a good idea and make it slightly worse.
I do what I can. All right, Mario World 2. Let's get some of that on there so the people who don't know can get the gist. Even now, this is a very fucking sharp platformer.
I don't like the way this game controls.
What
I
about
feel like
it?
I feel like Yoshi platformers are like the flutter jump plus the losing baby Mario and having to get him back plus the weird like you hold down the button to like aim the egg back and forth and then release it to shoot the egg. Like I don't like the way any of that stuff feels in this game.
It just works on a timer.
I know that it works on a timer, but like it just I don't know.
you just don't like I think you can only choose up directly, down directly, or forward directly, and then like any other direction is kind of like you have to
angles.
He'll always start at the same angle, I believe, unless you command him otherwise.
Like, the thing we're looking at is a speed run, and yes, the speed runs of this game look crazy and interesting.
I know, I love it. I love it a lot. But yeah, let's
to
go back
put
to
it
the
in my
regular.
own hands and play it, it's very finicky feeling. For like something that is called Super Mario World 2, it does not compare favorably to Super Mario World in my opinion. It does have a cool look. I do like the way this looks, and like it certainly has a style. And I'm not saying it's a terrible, like it's certainly better than most platformers on the Super Nintendo because there are a lot of them. Like it's not Blues Brothers, but
Shut the fuck! No, please don't do this to me. There's a platformer called The Blues Brothers.
you've never seen the Blues Brothers. We're not having that conversation right now. It's not Bebe's Kids, or Wayne's World.
What?
Or what's the
breaking
one I
it.
play on stream what's the game I play every 18 months? It's
Blues
Home
Brothers.
Improvement. It's not Home Improvement.
Home Improvement.
But it's a good game. It just doesn't like I don't hold it in as high a reverence as a lot of other folks do. I get why it has its fans, but it's not personally for me. So if we're asking for my opinion on this game,
Which is why we have a lot of different
Yeah.
folks here, just to make sure it's not just one big old yep.
I think the controls
Alright,
are a bit funky.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway on Yoshi's Island. The controls are a bit funky.
Is it mainly like a take away the egg? Then what do you have without the egg? What about just
Oh,
Yoshi himself?
considerably better game. Like you take
Okay,
away
so that I guess that's what I was trying to get to, because like no, Yoshi's not slippery. He handles fine.
No,
but-
yeah, he's fine. Again, I think the flutter jump is a little weird. Like it makes jumping around, like it makes like navigating the world feel significantly different. Like it's much more pronounced in like a Yoshi story, I would say. Like
That one
it's-
you could directly choose like the egg and the Yoshi story.
Yeah.
You just move the cursor and like that's where that shit's going. Pretty much.
But,
But I'm not even arguing on that one. Like yeah, like the egg works in like a strange way, but people
does work in a strange way.
have adapted to it very well because just using what's consistent about it. But yeah, I would say like the cursor. I guess if all you have is a D-pad, which is what it was.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see why they did
I
it,
get it.
but just does not excuse like
When they make Wii U
what's-
sequels for this and it still does the same thing,
then it's
even
like,
though you have another
no.
analog stick, it's just like
Yeah,
What
I
are you
wouldn't do that.
doing?
You did this because of a technical reason, and it was a good solution. Just not. Yeah, which I'm in agreement with that. So yeah, I think Yoshi himself is fine. You can adapt to the egg thing, but it's definitely like that is something you acquire. It's not something that's just this works right off the bat. So I give like a 20 or 21.
I'm gonna give it lower than that. But
Ooh, wow, how
what does,
would
that,
we
what, does
go?
that, what does everyone else think? Like, where are people landing on Yoshi's Island? Because
No,
I'm
like,
not trying to
I-
just be like, F this game. It has fans.
Uh,
I'm not trying to
So
do that.
I didn't. I feel like the egg thing controlled fine. Like it, because I know there was like a way you could make it go
Consistent.
directly up or aim a certain way sometimes. I don't remember having like too many problems with that.
yeah, it's fine. I understand like why people would go like, I don't like the egg throwing mechanic. It's not as intuitive as like if I gave them a controller, like a control stick, I do not think they would have come out with this system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, probably.
is-
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like I don't think this is the way they would have gone. This is purely, we have limits, we got to work around them.
Is the egg throwing like a major vital mechanic to the game?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
You do it-
Yoshi
you do
eats
it
stuff.
constantly.
It
do it a
kills
lot.
bosses. It is like pretty much. Okay, not even. It's central to boss fights. However, you could probably just go through. You just run through it, honestly, if you just
But if
don't want to
you're
kill
like
anything.
dealing with like combat, like that is your primary mechanism for.
Because you can
like,
still,
hitting
you could
enemies.
you can just jump on them like you always could. Like you
You
can just,
can, but like
yeah.
So
But people
would it be
choose
like
not to.
playing a first-person shooter where the gun you use 75% of the time you have to like lob, like awkwardly the bullets at somebody?
I can't even call
it's
it
not
that.
quite
Just
like
because,
that. I mean, it's just. It
'Cause it's
feels
a
like
pop-
it feels like a very core mechanic to this game. Like I understand the argument, like, well, you could do it this way, but you're not. You're clearly not supposed to. Like clearly, the design is that you are supposed to use these eggs to deal with enemies most of the time, and
like,
I think throwing the eggs does not feel good.
to where it's like I know if I hold up or right, I always get the same direction. It's pretty much angles. It's where I can see like okay, it won't be as fast as I need it. However, usually like in this boss fight here, it's always like the boss is in a small room, the eggs will bounce off the wall and just kind of hit the target anyway.
Sure.
To set directions. That's like you definitely thought about how to minimize like the flaw of your system. It's just I definitely would not implement this system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they like
I mean-
made a flawed system and then tried to work around it because they were committed to the idea of tossing an egg.
Because like
my-
yeah, like that's Yoshi. Like Yoshi, and
My thing with this game is very much like it's called Super Mario World 2.
That's
And
true.
this
If you're
is
following
not
us,
if you called this Yoshi's Island, Yoshi's Fun Adventure, the game, I'd probably be way nicer to like.
people would be like, "Hey,
Wait,
that
so
Yoshi's
just
game is
an-
really cool."
just the
Like in my
name?
mind, there's one game called Super Mario World, and then there's this game.
Mario World is also
Else.
like one of the just the best controlling games.
Controlling games of all time, even now, versus this that is kind of has this sort of inherent flaw in it.
But like you can see it's like you can probably even gauge how it works just by looking at it because
okay.
you have to wait pretty much.
Stat,
It's just yes.
if this was not a Mario game, do you think people would be as forgiving with the egg mechanic?
Yeah, probably.
No, dude. This
No, like,
game,
because like I can
this
look
game's
at it
legacy.
and gauge how it works. Like you kind of just have to wait. Like
If this
timer will
game was
start
like
from,
Ronnie's egg throwing caveman adventure, and you're
the
like
TurboGrafx
babysitting,
16,
yeah, you're like
we wouldn't be
babysitting
talking
like an
about it.
annoying baby.
Ooh, yeah, we didn't even bring up like the whole.
Oh yeah, and then
yeah,
you
the
every time
catching
you get
Mario
hit,
thing.
you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to get
yeah.
Baby Mario back, which
I
is
would
also
also-
shit.
Because like Yoshi doesn't die. It's just like
Yeah.
you lose. Yoshi's an immortal god taking on this
the
little
Baby Mario dies.
and he can't
Also
die.
introduces us to this weird canon where Baby Mario and Mario might not be the same person.
I mean, Mario Kart confirmed that.
Yeah,
Mario lore. Let's not get into it.
which is just psychotic.
But all it is like I would just say it doesn't work as fast as you would like because you see like if he wants to aim somewhere, you just have to wait. You just stay there, you wait, and then you time it. It's slow enough that you
Like,
can
would
time
we
it.
even be having this discussion if this wasn't a Mario World sequel? Because would people be even remembering Ronnie Caveman's egg throwing adventure where you save a baby? Or people only like forgiving this game and like
I
caring
wouldn't say
about it?
forgive it. I would say dock it. Definitely dock it because I wouldn't put this system with like if I could have it my way, I would be like, we shouldn't make it like this. But I can see why you did, which is what I'm trying to say. Like, dock it, but it's also like not like this broken thing.
Okay.
It's not this
What
broken.
would everyone give for the control score?
So now, yeah,
At
let's,
Out of-
75?
Out
I
of
definitely
25,
out of
yeah.
that. Okay, yeah, because I'm not talking
15.
about the systems and the baby. Like, I'm just talking about Yoshi himself, the controls itself. Yeah, I don't like the eggs. Yoshi's fine.
I don't like eggs.
I don't like eggs.
I guess I'd probably be the most generous one.
I'd be like it's like 19 or 20 for me, honestly.
It'd be a 15 for me.
I'm at like 20. Yeah, I'm sitting at 20.
You know, I'll just average it. Okay, so you're saying 15. I'm saying like RJ, you're saying 20.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 15 plus 20. I'll do like a 19, and then are you just like kind of staying out of this one because you're just like not familiar with it?
I haven't played it in any
Yeah.
capacity.
Okay, so 54.
I can only talk based on reputation.
All right, so 18 between the three of us.
What about effect on gaming culture?
Oh shit.
Okay, we start from the top.
Because like I did play this on the original SNES as
Did
a
you?
child.
Okay.
I just did not. I was too young to really. Was this a big deal? Was this just here type deal? This one's
Well,
kind
they
of
called
like.
it Super Mario World 2.
So yeah, it probably at least at its time was, but nowadays, like, what's its effect nowadays, if any?
It's like it is like an extremely popular speedrunning game. I'll give you that. Like it's
Yeah.
super. Like it's like
We're in the cult
it's almost
territory
more
again,
like
pretty
Mario
much.
64 2 in that regards. Like this, like I
Yeah.
said, the speedruns of this game and like the way you can optimize Yoshi's movement and all that stuff is really cool.
Very
I'll give
a
you
lot of
that.
depth, a lot of depth.
There's a lot of
um,
depth to this thing.
I feel like its reputation has even soured over the last like decade or so. Because I remember people really kind of like. I remember picturing it as like a game I should play back in the day,
Mhm.
and I don't picture that nowadays. I've not really been like, oh yes, Yoshi's Island. I definitely need to get on that.
I think it's
should.
definitely worth seeing. It's I'm not saying it's not worth looking at. Like it's not like spend an hour with it. Like do
Sure.
play it, but it's not. I mean, it's again. This
But as far as like
every time you-
platformers or Mario games to like that I like need to get around to playing, like
Sure.
I don't,
Yeah,
This is not very high up on the list.
like if someone had never
give 'em
played
that.
Mario before, would it be like in the first like 8 Mario games someone would recommend?
oh shit, that's a lot of Mario. But
That's
no,
a lot of Mario games, I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but, like-
I probably
but
would
like
be in the top
between
8.
Brothers
Right,
1,
which to like
3,
8,
64, you know, I would
both
probably
galaxies.
I would probably put this in the same like tier of as like Sunshine, of like I
Okay.
get to it. That's kinda
You
where
know
I-
what?
it's kinda
That's
where I
like a
place
good
this thing.
description. It's like you have like this really cool, unique idea. There's a lot of depth to the movement. You just some stuff missed. Like,
Some
That's
stuff
that's
is just, it's a little funky.
a more apt comparison than I would have thought. Like when you first
Yeah.
said Sunshine, I was like, oh my gosh, that's silly, but it's like, huh, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Sunshine plays
Like you can get used to these controls. You can get used to it. You can make it work. It's not a terrible game.
you can make it
but
look cool.
Every time you go back to the Excel spreadsheet and I look at the box art and it says Super Mario World 2, I'm just like, fuck, man.
I could definitely. It's almost like that Majora's Mask effect, where it's just like you see this and you're like, wait, what? Where I just wanted more Mario. I just
like,
wanted more.
would you
levels.
rather
I
play
just wanted-
Yoshi's Island than like Wario Land 4?
Yes, not even
Yeah,
close.
I think I
Absolutely.
would.
Okay.
I think I would. I don't
like,
think Mario Land 4
the
is
systems
some
around it-
mess.
This is like kind of almost in. Not
Oh,
ingenious,
hold
but
on,
like-
but for the gaming culture number, like
Oh yeah, sorry.
we say,
I
like
forgot.
because it's a Mario game, it's like
Pretty high.
it's like
gets
more
some
than
points.
cult, but it's like I don't.
I'm
Who
gonna
has
go back
cited
to
Yoshi's
the-
Island as like an incredible influence? Because like it's not. I mean, it's more
It's a
of a
speedrunner
known
game.
quantity. Than,
That's it. It's a
God.
speedrunner game that will not go away.
hmm
So,
I
like-
mean, again, I keep saying it. It is Super Mario World 2,
And then
so
Beige
it's
comes
kind
in
of hard
after
to
Alien
say that it's
Isolation.
not somewhat influential on
Sorry,
gaming
yeah.
culture.
Which like
it's.
yeah, it probably did. It's just I don't know how much. Like
I mean, I wouldn't give it full points.
God,
Like
no. I would not.
I can't think of like a game that cites it as inspiration except maybe visually.
That's true. Yeah, maybe
And
like
visually,
it's
and I mean, this
coloring
is the
book
first
visuals. It's
Yoshi
little...
game. Like this is the first. Well, Yoshi on the NES is the first. Yoshi game,
Yoshi's
but, like,
Cookie.
Yeah, I think Yoshi's Cookie. Yoshi
like
and
a-
Yoshi's Cookie
Mhm.
are both
game.
puzzle games for the NES. They came out after this game.
Mm-hmm.
No, they came out after Super Mario World 1, but regardless,
I would say as far as Yoshi lore goes, it's vitally important.
it's very like it's the first because there are multiple Yoshi platformers now that all kind of take in this game's, you know, design. Like I mean, some of them change the egg throwing a little bit, some of them don't. Most of them don't have unless they're Yoshi's Island 2 and 3, they don't have the Baby Mario part. It establishes Baby Mario as a character in Mario lore, which is something that I've, again, kind of not a huge fan. Like, still think the Baby Mario concept is weird at best and creepy at worst.
Wait, what? It's just creepy. It's creepy.
Would you say like an 8 because it's like it's the undeniability of being a Mario game, but also being one that is not. It's like, you know, there's like a sequel on the 3DS. So
Yeah, I think that's fair,
that's
yeah.
its legacy.
I thought we were talking about like its effect on the culture. Its culture is almost limited to like itself. Like Mario will affect other games, like other platformers will look at that and be like, we should do that because it's
Like,
good.
I
But
feel like there
Yoshi's,
are a
like-
whole lot of platformers on the SNES, and if this one didn't have Mario in the title, it would be like a lot of those in that you can't remember them.
I feel like this game, again, because the SNES has so many bad platformers on it, you would remember it, but you'd remember it
one
the
of the
same way you
stronger
remember
ones.
like Dynamite Heady for the Genesis.
Right.
Like, I
Yeah,
would
that's
remember
that's
this
that's
game.
one of like that's the kind of ilk I was thinking of
Mhm.
when I was saying like, is this only talked about because it's a Mario game?
Like this game would
Versus,
have
like-
a cult following that wouldn't be as big as its current cult following, but it would have one.
Yeah,
Control
like
it.
it's too. It's almost it's too strong of a platformer for it to not.
Yeah,
like
it's-
it's
Like
just,
it'd be in that like ActRaiser thing of people being like, oh yeah,
Yes, people would.
yeah,
absolutely-
Yoshi's Island. If
It is on
if
that
it-
tier. Is on that list. It also introduces the characters that would eventually be the characters in Tetris Attack, which is an incredible game.
I've learned about
so
Cory in
it-
the House and Tetris Attack, so you know,
Fucking
it's
Tetris
just
Attack.
You know
gotta
what
keep the
about-
bangers coming.
Boy,
You want to talk about bangers on the Super Nintendo? It's like Tetris Attack.
Tetris.
happy
Yeah.
movie.
So
I
not
would say
even
like
an 8.
seven or eight almost.
tough
So,
to
some-
get dizzy.
like around that. is
Yeah,
what I'd say.
I think 8's fair.
Which like if Ryan's even saying like yeah sure I'll go 8. And then
It's
system
got a creepy
utilization.
baby Mario on the cover of it, but it's still Mario.
So now
Strong of a big
outside
one.
outside of its controls, like just talking about its systems, like it all plays off pretty damn well against each other. The eggs bounce, the level designs there to make the eggs bounce off to the right shit, which is like kind of crazy to think that all these things work. The bosses are designed around that. The whole fucking thing is just built around like how do we make this thing work with like a fucking D-pad. It's kind of
Kinda,
crazy.
yeah. That's where I'm at with it.
Outside of like Yoshi himself, like you have all this shit going. The only thing I would say is like these little tacked on mini games are kind of fluff. You could honestly do without them.
Sure.
So what do you think numbers wise?
I like it's like that's like a strong 18.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. System utilization. If you accept the eggs, if you accept the controls, then yes.
Yep,
They use
that's
it
why
well.
you ding it on the controls, but then how do you use it? God damn, did you use it? You absolutely did.
That's fair.
You took this thing and fucking rode that wave, man. Like it's just a really fun game to like watch a pro at the game just go at.
I mean, that's true of just about
Like-
any game.
Yeah.
There's an esports scene for like Farming Simulator, and that is as
That's-
boring as it could
Okay.
possibly
It's
be.
awful.
You know, I suppose you've made your point, and I
Every
cannot
game's an
disagree
action
with-
game.
Right.
But now it's just conveying information. Yeah,
What
it's-
information does
it's-
it convey?
it's a
What do you
plat-
mean?
Like, yeah,
It
everything's
is a-
visual.
It's a platformer. It does it.
I will say-
I mean, you see Yoshi and you see a baby version of Mario riding on his back, and you're like, it conveys the information of like, yep, we fucked this up. We fucked up big time. This is what you bought. This is what we made.
Like you could just
You
kick
sucker.
shit. Oh man, you sucker.
Super Mario World 2.
Oh,
So you know how like most Mario games have like the coin counter in the corner, and there's like the red coin thing and all that. I'm not seeing any of this. Is this?
That's a good.
It
point.
has a
because it ranks you at the end, like how much did you
Yeah.
find? But yeah, there is no counter of like how well
Yeah.
you're
I
currently
in
doing.
the pause menu. I think
Which
it
is-
says.
oh,
like,
no,
what
you're
you've
right.
picked up so far.
You're right. In the pause, yeah. If you pause a game, it'll say like coins 0
Okay.
out of whatever. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about
Because
that.
I am just seeing like a random number pop up in the corner, and otherwise not really seeing any other information. Fortunately,
And-
it's a 2D platformer, so you just go right.
It only shows you the information when you need it.
Yeah, if you choose to see it, if like how am I doing? Yeah, if you pause, it'll be like 0 out of 20, 0 out of 5, like however many stars you got. Yeah.
So is Yoshi's Island an immersive sim then?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Sound design, yeah, there's just SNES. It's very
It's-
weak.
I think the soundtrack in this game is pretty well. How much of the soundtrack?
I like the
is that
soundtrack,
memorable?
but it's just
Yeah.
we're talking about like you're dealing with this.
Is the baby cry in that game?
Yes, the
The
baby
baby
cries in
does
this
cry.
game. That's
It goes-
that's
it
the one
goes-
thing.
It goes wah, wah.
I would probably
wah.
lean towards
Is
two.
Is that a good thing?
No,
No, it
No.
wants you. It makes you want to stop the baby from making that sound.
it makes you want to not.
It makes
Right,
you
but
want
isn't that like what you want a baby crying
Yes.
to do?
You want to
Yes,
shut the fuck up? Yeah.
So is
and that way it's very effective.
it a? Okay, well I
Okay.
will.
I would lean towards. I would lean towards two. This is like one of those. In the way, if you target realism, you can't hit it. You're dealing with old hardware, and your sounds are very limited.
Oh, we can't just
type
ding
deal.
all Super Nintendo games for their sound because they have the Super Nintendo sound chip in them.
That's just
Yeah, what are you gonna do when we
Like,
get the
that's not-
Sega Genesis and everything
What are you
sounds
gonna
like
tell me
farts?
that? Are you gonna tell me? First of all, the Sega Genesis sounds incredible.
I love
Second
it.
of all, the
Sega TV.
like if we get to Streets of Rage 2 and that sound does not get a 5, I'm leaving this podcast. Like,
I don't even know what that is.
I will
I'm
die
sorry.
on that hill.
You don't know what Streets of Rage 2 is?
But like
See, this is
are you-
where we need to double back to like what we gave. Oh wait, we haven't done Super Metroid yet. 'Cause
But, like,
Yeah.
that game also deserves like an
a
11
good
out of 5.
score.
So-
Like when we get to like Final Fantasy 6 or something, are you gonna tell me the soundtrack to Final Fantasy 6 is not good because it's coming out of a Super Nintendo?
Not the soundtrack. There's overall everything sound design.
Yeah, but like you can do
All of
bleeps and
it.
bloops and be like, ooh, yes, hooray.
Yes, you can. Yes, Jim. Make your bleeps and bloops and say hooray.
Ooh, I will.
Which is why I tried to split up the for its time thing against everything else, just because, yeah, like older hardware will just inherently be worse than things that got to improve upon it. That's just the nature of what it is. Which is why it's also not ranked very high as well. Like SNES is gonna take a hit here, as is like the NES, as is like really old systems. That's just how.
Well, okay. If we're talking like compared to the NES, like all SNES games sound like an opera.
And then compared to
Compared
the
to, like-
SNES, all N64 games sound even better, and so
Not
on and so forth.
necessarily.
No,
Maybe
there are
maybe they
some
have a
Super
deeper
Nintendo
sound
games-
library, but like
There's some
the-
Nintendo 64 games that sound like turds underwater.
right, they're like
Which
some
is the
PS4
thing to be
games.
said about
What's the
SNES
Rockstar game? Space Colony with the animal?
Space Station Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that game sound is all over the freaking place.
Yeah, because
So, yeah, I don't like.
It's
I
almost
don't
like a
agree with beep
technology
boops
question.
being knocked because like Battlefield Bad Company 2 sounds really great.
it does.
That would be the exact reason I would say
Mega
yeah, the
Man,
beep boops don't
Mega
compare.
Man 2 for the NES has amazing soundtrack.
Mega Man, yes, Mega Man 2 for the.
But then
NES
that's just the
has a great-
soundtrack. That's one aspect of it.
but it also has good sound design
Mm-hmm.
because it conveys everything you need to know. It has very iconic sound effects. It's like it's it utilizes everything it can extremely well.
Mhm.
And like I would have to find some way because like I just can't give limited hardware the max points.
I can and I will. On my new podcast, The Game Statistician.
Honestly, I still feel like if we did that, we would have to call it the Gaming Statistic 2. We would just argue TWO,
The T
the TWO, the duo, the dose.
The Game Statistic 8, the Ocho.
Okay, so fine. You don't want
But
to get sound
anyway.
design super high on Yoshi's Island. I'm not going to fight you on it. Like, there's not a lot in this game that is super iconic to me either. I remember it feels like a very good sounding Super Nintendo game. It's very
Just
bright,
kind of
it's very
average,
cheerful.
honestly.
But,
like,
yeah.
I would just say it does what it needs to do.
Once
It's
we
just-
get to Super Metroid, if we haven't done that already, my memory
have not.
failed me. Then once we get there, then I'll be like, yeah, that's a 5. And then
target visuals.
I'll start like doxing stat if you choose.
I think this is I think for everything I've said about the controls and like the visual and the like throwing the eggs or whatever, I think this game looks fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's
It
such a
does.
clean
Beautiful
look.
looking game.
It's like the kind of coloring book look like Baby Mario being a Baby Mario, but also this game looking like this.
Hmm.
Yeah,
kind
it's just a
of
little
works.
coloring book, and
It's-
it's
yeah.
if you just want it to look like a little coloring book, and I'm like, yeah.
Like when you see Baby Mario in Mario Kart and he looks like a more HD looking Baby Mario, it's creepy. But for some reason in this game, it's a lot more acceptable and palatable.
Okay, so I assume no one's going to argue max points for visuals, but for sound, what are
Sound
y'all?
is just average, I would say.
Yeah, he's putting a 3.
Are you just gonna 3? Is no one gonna die in the hill?
I
for
mean,
that?
do you?
I'm not gonna die.
I'm not gonna die on the hill.
Yeah.
For Yoshi's
Yoshi's
Island?
Island. For 2
Yeah.
points on Yoshi's Island.
Sure. Some of its parts.
I would make this very high. Again,
Yeah,
when you
like-
accept the controls, sure.
It comes together fucking
I think
pretty
it's-
well.
I think it's a max score.
The controls are still like almost like that one little dent. I'd probably do like a 6 actually instead of like the full 7.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it all comes together really, really well.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You guys have to get 14 out of 15 to
Yep. Let's see.
bang this up. Are you guys gonna try and gin it together? Do you think it maxes out on fun factor? It is the premier SNES platformer.
I did have a lot of fun when I played this game. But that was a me from a long
The
time
babies
ago.
are mine.
The babies are mine.
The babies are
Wow.
mine.
When you think,
Like-
thinking about this, okay, thinking about, trying to remember this game in my mind, yes, there's some very well-designed levels where everything falls together and you've kind of gotten used to the eggs and the baby thing, but they're also, even after you've gotten used to this game and made it all work, there's still moments where you hit a spike and the baby's falling off and you're fumbling with the flutter control. It's like a Death Stranding-esque moment of like the baby falls off you and you're fumbling around trying to figure out how to get him back and the baby's crying.
This is the original Strand game.
This is the
It's
original Strand.
original
Like that's what I've come to
Stranding.
understand. This is the original Strand game.
Oh
I
shit.
think the problem with separating the controls from all the other things are that the controls are what hurt the fun factor the most for this game for me, because like we've said, the visuals, I think the sound, the level design, all killer in this game. It's just sometimes the fucking eggs and trying to deal with that shit just sucks. Not all the time. I'm not saying like you get past it and you get there, but even after you're in it, it's like
So you're not having fun all the time. So, like,
there's
you're
just some
you can
moments
have
where
fun
it doesn't click.
So would you say a 5 out of
Yeah,
6?
sounds
4
like
out
a
of
5.
6?
Sounds like a 5.
I would say like a
also.
5, yeah.
I agree.
All right. Story.
Really? Yeah. Baby.
Does
Yoshi needs
the
to look-
baby part hinder the story of the
It
game?
doesn't have a story.
Huh?
It's just a fucking
Sure.
Mario game,
Talk
dude.
about the baby gets kidnapped and then
Bowser wants to kidnap baby. Yoshi's like,
Yeah.
bet.
Who's gonna
Not
be Baby
really-
Mario in the Mario
This is
movie?
really like almost like a story is like an NA type deal. It's just like it's the reason to go, which is like a lot of the older games. It's like save the bitch, deliver the baby, fight the man. Like kind
know
of,
what?
kind of,
I'm just
not,
saying,
not really.
like, because the baby crying, I know is a big problem, and the baby's only there because of the plot of the game. So does it? If we're going to litigate or dock points for the baby element, it would probably be here, right? And if y'all don't
Baby
think that's enough of a problem to dock points, then short. If you're fine.
I
if
would
you think the
probably
baby
dock
is-
points for the baby around the systems because like he's like a system of life. He is essentially
So
the-
1 point for the baby, 1 point for the eggs is where you lose the system utilization.
something like like just the eggs, the babies, and then you could probably even go harder here if you wanted to say like no, that affects it more. Like this is where I would dock even more points for the baby. Like the story is just
Alright.
yeah, Yoshi delivers
It's-
the baby. he does.
Like I've probably never seen the story of this game. Like I've probably not waded through this.
Oh well,
I've
here's the
probably
end.
not-
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
He beats him, and he's like, "Oh man, it's really fucking loud
yeah.
in here." And then Bowser turns into like super duper big Bowser, and Yoshi throws the big eggs to kill the bigger Bowser because the eggs are bigger. And then he delivers Mario to Luigi, I guess, because Mario got separated from Luigi, and he did his job.
They never show you Mario or Luigi's parents.
It's because they're not real.
That's true. They're not.
Okay, so
It's just
everyone would say 6 for the story,
sure, yeah,
Sure.
it's there.
Alright. and for its time.
It literally needs okay, so for its time.
Because this
I
is
really wish I
basically
was-
make or break on if it makes this list.
It's
I
shake and bake.
really wish I was
I need-
older
I need
at
to
this
look
point in
something up.
time so I could know like were people like excited about this, or were people just kind of like, wait, what the fuck? Or were people like, Yoshi, sick, let's do it?
I mean, me
I'm
as
just-
a person, I don't like Yoshi.
Don't
You as a
Whoa.
wait, I'm sorry, I missed that. You as a person don't like the Yoshi.
I don't like the Yoshi.
whoa, you don't like the Yoshi?
I don't like the Yoshi.
Oh,
I just
man.
wanted
Why
to.
don't
So
you
I
like the
looked something
Yoshi?
up that I was curious about. I was pretty sure this was right, but I just wanted to bring up the Japanese title for this game is just Super Mario: Yoshi's Island. So it is not super. It was not originally Super Mario World.
They marketed
2.
it for America.
So
They marketed
does
it as
that,
that for America and Europe.
does that fix
like
your
Doki
issue
Doki
then?
Picnic.
If the actual
And-
title is just Super Mario Yoshi
If the
Island?
game was, if I feel like if this fucking title screen just said Super Mario Yoshi's Island, I would be having a completely different conversation about this.
What the so that's
Right now.
all it takes? Then, bro, what the fuck?
It's such
So-
a bad sequel to such
So-
a good game.
Actually, I guess that's kind of the its
That's
time.
for its time.
This is the direct comparison to Mario World. Is
It does not
people
compare
looking at
Man.
favorably to it.
Ah man, it's just I
I'm
can't
not gonna
even
look.
go
I'm not
back
gonna
and
block
found.
you on this. I'm not trying to actively block you on like putting this thing on this list because I know this game is very, very popular and
I
people love it very much.
care 0% whether my picks get on there or not. I'm literally just trying to give as good an assessment as I can.
It is very fun and interesting that this is so borderline.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's extremely appropriate that this is so borderline.
actually, yeah, I also
Like,
agree. This is
this-
like
This is one of those that should have been like this and Majora's Mask, which was also very borderline. Like, yeah, yep.
it's
Yeah.
like one of those. I think we
Big
have
sequel
I think we have
to
a
a
good
nearly
system.
perfect
All
video game.
honestly.
All right,
And
do
it kind
you
of
three want to give a vote on the 1 to 3 scale?
I
Or
have to
0, right?
literally, I have to think like for its time. This is like I was just young.
As I
Were we
said
still-
earlier, I think its reputation has decreased over the years.
So you think
but-
it started off stronger?
That's
You
true.
think people were pretty hyped for it? Is like
People
I-
were extremely.
Maybe.
I couldn't tell you because I didn't play the SNES game.
Right.
It was on GBA.
I did not
ooh,
know
here's
about
something I
this
can do.
game for a while though. So-
Like, okay, let's also be fair when we talk about Super Nintendo and especially when we get into NES era games. This game came out in North America in 1995. I was 4 years old.
Right.
Our perspective on For Its Time is going to be a little weird.
Yeah, like,
mean,
I,
it's going
I
to be
have
a
to
little
do
biased
some research
regardless.
on this shit.
It
honestly,
had a 96% on game rating, which is overwhelmingly positive.
I mean,
Super FX.
I
Big
can
Boost
imagine
Fort,
this game reviewed
Watermelon.
very well, but I can
Yeah.
also imagine it like if you told
I can
me
also
this game
imagine like angry people on the IRC channels of the
on the
day.
BBC,
This is real. This is Mario 2.
This is
What'd they
real
do to my
Mario.
Mario? That's hey man. He carried a little baby. That baby gay, man. And was whoa.
I'm gonna
Come
okay.
on.
I'm gonna look up
Yeah, I'm doing some research right now.
No
I'm trying to find
cheese.
literally anything. Something.
how did
that
this
was
review at the
around-
time.
Yeah, how did this review at
I
the
was saying
time?
96% on game rankings, which was kind of the aggregator of its day.
For its
Game
time, it's 3.
Okay, it was reviewed in volume
wish I could-
7.
Was it a Nintendo
You know what I
Power?
have? You know what I do have? Yeah, I like
Nintendo Power
literally have
gave it a
some
16.6 out of 20. Fuck that means.
That really?
Nintendo's
did?
own.
Nintendo's own magazine
Yeah,
gave it.
Nintendo's own magazine was like a little bit harsh.
I didn't
to
realize
it.
it was that bad. Oof.
Where's
I don't think it's that bad.
Where's the actual number?
This is like, yeah, as the older the generations go, the more I'm gonna have to
yeah.
put in some research to
Yeah,
figure out.
4.4, a 3.8, a 4.2, and a 4.2 from the power
So-
meter ratings to a
so-
16.6 out of 20.
Sounds like they thought it was just okay, and not like a not like, hey, this is like a. I'm honestly, I would probably say 2. If that's the case.
GamePro graphics 4.5, sound 4.5, control 4.5, fun factor 4.5 out of 5 on all of them. So
Oh,
it did review
so-
very well in
so-
some places.
Pretty high. Okay,
Pretty
yeah,
high
I
in
need,
some places.
maybe I need some more information. I gotta keep looking.
And again, I was 4.
Oh,
So-
Game Rankings gave it out of 5 reviews. So
Yeah. I mean, this is pre-Metacritic.
If I could just
Oh, boy.
aggregate. So you're saying the one that you looked like is like
Also
an aggregator?
pre-websites.
I just
Did I
like
get some of
the
them?
Wikipedia page has like all the listed reviews, but it seems like it reviewed very well.
It did review very
The
well, yeah.
Game Boy Advance version on Metacritic got a 91. So that's
Really?
So,
that's
That's for its time later.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's 20 years ago.
Oh, that the end. Mario and Luigi.
yeah,
Mario.
Mario got to go back to with Luigi, and now he's happy because Yoshi brought him back to Luigi.
Yeah.
That's the story.
Okay, so just to kind of keep the discussion rolling on, stat 3 or 2?
Oof.
Gut decision.
Got decision. It's too early in gaming
Ryan.
life cycle for me to be pessimistic.
I would
Yeah,
give it
I'll
a
say,
3.
bro, I'm fucking in the middle of it. Shut
Oh, I
up.
thought you were like it's too early to decide. So I was moving.
No. I mean, like, I'm saying it's like too early in the video game life cycle for everyone to kind of just be super pessimistic. I could see people being hyped for it. So, yeah, I'll lean on a 3 if the aggregator is also agreeing with me as well.
Yeah, I guess 3.
I could see 3 for this.
All right.
It's weird to have like that decision like not really in my hands.
I know. I just hate that I have to research that more.
I mean, that's going to be the case for a lot of these.
Slides in under the door and grabs his hat.
Yeah.
Grabs his
Yoshi's
baby.
I mean,
Gross.
I think that's quite appropriate for, like, what did we give Alien Isolation? Like, I can't
An
remember.
83.
83.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
You stay out.
Alien Isolation
Yeah.
being higher scoring than God Hand and Yoshi's Island, I consider a personal victory.
I think that's fair. I think those.
It might have even been. Actually, no. The sound design is probably where I would put it. Yeah.
Wrong. Oh yeah.
No, he's just
yeah.
sizing.
I'm sizing.
Okay, dude. Whatever.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck your Excel spreadsheet.
All right, Ryan. I guess you have not suggested anything yet.
Man.
Okay, so this is opinions on this. If we're talking about, and this is going to give away what I'm about to suggest, if we're talking about a game that received several iterations over its lifetime that were sold as like separate products, like occasionally they were separate products, but occasionally they were downloadable as patches that you had to pay for. So I'm talking about Street Fighter 4.
Oh.
And
okay.
I'm like,
Feeling.
well, what are we reviewing at this point? Because if we're reviewing Ultra Street Fighter 4, I would say let's not talk about Street Fighter 4. But if we're talking about Street Fighter 4, the whole thing,
What's your best possible version of the game? How about that? What's
I
the
don't-
best
but
possible version?
I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to say because
I
the
know
name-
exactly what you're talking about because when I
Yeah.
think of Ultra 4, I'm like, when I think of like Super 4,
Super
it's like,
4
yeah.
and like Super AE 2012 and even Vanilla.
Yeah.
Like, it's like basically the two versions of that game that were like extremely funky were Arcade Edition, like Vanilla Arcade Edition, which was the third version, and the last version they left us with, which was Ultra. And it's kind of tragic.
You know what?
But that's how it is.
Let's
Get like alternate. There wasn't like a way to put like the alternate versions of the characters from like all the different versions of the game. At some
Yeah,
point.
there is a thing you can do that, but it's kind of a weird one. I feel
Yeah.
like what I want to do is put like Vanilla Street Fighter 4. That's kind of what if we're just gonna do that, but then at that point we're review like I feel like that's the version to put in there because that's the most like relevant effect on gaming culture and
Well-
like I'm not reviewing like how did this update affect the gameplay of the base game. I'm talking about like the gameplay itself.
Mhm.
And I'm not having to deal with like Yun and Elena and Evil Ryu and like the weird shit that happened towards the red focuses and all the weird shit that they added later.
well, I guess let's decide. Do we want to talk about Street Fighter 4, the concept, or Street Fighter 4, the? Because like we could either be like, okay, what would be like the last good one? That'd be like Arcade 2012.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about specifically Arcade 2012, or do we want to talk about Street Fighter 4 as a total package?
What generation is even that? 'Cause the
360.
whole-
Gen 7.
360.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as
Don't
it's
forget
still
about the
there.
3DS.
Also a 3DS version. There's
Oh,
also
right.
a PS4 version, and the PS4 got Ultra Street Fighter 4 like way
Mhm.
after the fact. Like they ported it.
That's right.
That's before Street Fighter 5 came out as a way you could play it on your new console.
But okay,
And-
say you were going to tell someone who was a child 10 years ago, and they were like, "I want to try the Street Fighter, like, I want to try every Street Fighter game. If I wanted to play 4, which one would you tell them
Ultra.
to pick up? Ultra?
Ultra, because
Yeah.
that's the one that has anyone playing it anymore.
All right. Do you want to talk about Ultra, and we can factor in the timeline of it?
Sure.
What
Yeah,
exactly
that
happened
might
here?
be the
So,
best way to do it.
did they just release like? Are we talking about like they released like a base game and then that base game got patches with different versions?
So
Like,
the
they
thing
literally
was
just made like a whole other game that was just the same game with minor updates or something.
so here let me explain it. So
Alright.
I'll tell you how I owned it as an Xbox 360 game. As an Xbox 360 game, I purchased the game Street Fighter 4 when it came out.
Okay.
Right? That's a game. A year later, they released a new game called Super Street Fighter 4, which is just an update to original Street Fighter 4 with new characters and some new modes. That was not sold. That you could not buy that as a patch. You had to buy a whole new disc. That was a whole new DVD case, a whole new product on shelves. It was a new game, as new as you get.
Okay.
From then on, every subsequent version of Street Fighter 4 they ever released. So after that, a year later, I think, a year and some change later, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition was released. You could either buy it as DLC for Super Street Fighter 4, or they did release a DVD, like a new disc for it, if you wanted to buy it that way. That DLC
Oh,
was
but
like $15, I think.
But it could be DLC though.
It
Like,
could
you
be
literally
DLC.
you could just add it to the game. So like, yeah, the end result is this is the game now. If someone were to
Yeah.
go back and get it, this is part of the game.
Then there was there was a pretty large balance patch. Because remember, this is before fighting games getting a lot of patches. This was like every year you basically got a new thing.
Yeah.
And Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012, which came out in 2012, it turns out, was like a patch on top of Arcade Edition that fixed, because Arcade Edition's new characters were very, very strong, like were very, very powerful, and people were not happy with the balance of the game, and so they released this last patch. And I feel like, I mean, again, I'm not the developers. I don't have a developer interview in my hands or a reference to one to tell you that this is true or not. But I feel like at that point they would have been done with Street Fighter 4. They made a game called Street Fighter Cross Tekken which added some addition, which was like a new fighting. It's just a new game, like right. It's a versus
I like
game.
that
It's
game.
it's a 2-on-2. It has the Tekken characters in it.
Same engine as Street Fighter 4.
Definitely, but it is its own game, right? It has new mechanics. It's we wouldn't call that an update to Street Fighter 4, right?
No.
No.
But what it had was additional Street Fighter characters that they had added to this game for this crossover game. And so Ultra Street Fighter 4 basically takes those characters from that engine and puts them back into Street Fighter 4, as well as adding Elena. I guess it adds those characters. It adds Elena into Capra, which I guess had not been in Cross Tekken. And that version of the game is controversial because Elena is very powerful. Because, okay, now we're talking about like effects on gaming culture and how we talk about games and updates to games. Remember, Ultra Street Fighter 4 is the version of Street Fighter 4 you played after you'd played hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of Street Fighter 4 already. And so now you're reviewing a game, like you're reviewing a patch for a game after you've had all the time to really get very invested, really know what you're doing, see every wart and problem and issue that you have with the game. And then now you get a version of the game that many people, not everyone, I'm sure some people love Ultra, but many people had issues with. Ultra 4 was a game that I played some of and was like, nah, man, I'm good. I don't need this anymore because I've already played this game to death. I've played this game for years now, and this version is funky, and there's a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that I can play instead.
Yeah.
And it's awkward that this was the last version of the game we got, but to take that version and that patch of the game and to erase the amount of the culture, I look at that cultural impact score, and to erase all of the cultural impact of Street Fighter 4 because Elena can heal herself and that is bad, doesn't feel right.
I think that we should probably discuss it as a total package, and as because when people talk about Street Fighter 4, they're not necessarily always talking about Ultra.
They almost never are, actually.
I think everyone's talking about like Street Fighter 4 itself.
Because I think when you say Street Fighter 4 and effect on gaming culture, I'd be like 14,
Yeah.
Because fighting games exist.
Well, I think it's a max score of basically like saved fighting games.
Saved fight, yeah.
Right, I mean, that's the argument you're making. Where if we specifically pigeonhole this into Ultra, then it's like, well, Ultra is like a fart compared to Street Fighter 4 and even Super. So
it's a patch on the game. It's like Fortnite Season 3.
But basically, so is Super Street Fighter 4 basically like we had no way to do DLC. We pretty much have to release a whole ass another thing to add this stuff.
It was DLC was such still a new idea at the time. So them making Super Street Fighter 4 was that's how they did it with Street Fighter 3 and 2.
Which is
here's the newest version.
So can we just call it pretty much an archaic way of DLC, but DLC all the same?
I mean, for arcade games, they just had to make.
Yeah, the specific discussion about 4, more so than even 3 and 2 with Street Fighter, is that the final package of 4 is not great. Whereas there were times in 4's life where it was. And so
I'm not saying that Ultra, I'm not saying Ultra is unplayable. It's not an abysmal video game, but it is.
Street Fighter 4 Vanilla and Super and the
AE 2012.
Right, those are all great, and it's the fact that they kind of patched their way out of it patched their way into us having this debate now. That's why I think maybe we should talk about Street Fighter 4 in general, and then we can maybe dock points for the final Ultra patch on certain things.
I mean, we dock points for AE. I mean, none of these versions of this game, I'm going to tell you, are perfect, super. There's no. First of all, there's no perfectly balanced fighting game. There are versions of this game that are have egregiously powerful top tier characters that people are upset about. But you're also talking about the fact that Street Fighter 4 Vanilla was a version of Street Fighter 4 where you learned how to play fighting games for the first time, and Ultra Street Fighter 4 is the final version of the game that you had stopped playing for a while because you were playing Marvel, and now this game's balance is weird, and now you like when you played Vanilla 4, you weren't thinking about the fact that, you know, Elena, you were never going to think about the fact that Elena has a 3-framed crouching jab and that she can heal herself, and that mallet smash is a 15-frame overhead. And that's really shitty.
You're like, wow, look at Ryu in 3 dimensions. With
3 dimensions and wow, fighting games. Like, this is an interesting new genre that they're like reviving in this like really amazing way. So just like the emotional reaction to the release of Street Fighter 4 to Ultra is so different that you kind of have to.
Yeah, you might want to do it all as like.
Well, yeah, let's talk about it as a complete package.
Yeah, like the whole
package.
the Street Fighter 4, the
debate.
game, all of it.
Well, Street Fighter 4 Rainbow Edition.
Right.
For Rainbow.
So yeah, in that case.
It sounds like it had a
maybe a
big
14
effect.
because like
14,
big effect overall.
like GTA 3 is a 15, you know, like
Yeah.
Mario 64 is a 15. Street Fighter 4 like saving fighting games and like introducing that genre to a whole new generation is like it's like not quite on the level of like being the complete game changer, but it's like huge.
Like it's a 15 in my heart.
Yeah.
But I can understand the like, yes, it's not Mario 64. You're right. It's not Mario 64.
I think Street Fighter 4 is like why I like fighting games so much.
Yeah. Like if your fighting game isn't Tekken or Smash Brothers, it owes some of, and it came out in the last 10 years, it owes some of its existence to this game.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Like when did Vanilla 4 come out? Was it like
09?
Yeah. So like.
Was the fighting games just kind of like dying out, or?
Yeah, it was like Tekken 5 was kind of the only, like when you think of fighting games on the PS2.
Yeah.
You think of like Tekken.
Yeah.
5.
Tekken 5, Dark Red.
A couple Guilty Gear releases.
Yeah, and like Tekken Tag 2 was 8 years prior to this.
Fucking Bloody Roar Primal Fury.
8 years prior to this.
Right. So, actually 9 because Tekken Tag was launched, so that's 2000. So, so that whole like the 6th gen was just like kind of like, oh, okay, fighting games aren't really a thing anymore, especially in the wake of Marvel 2 and Third Strike and like that like golden age.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I guess this is dead. This is like lost to the arcades.
They had Capcom Fighting Evolution and SVC Chaos.
Yeah, they put out like some trash games. Like,
some weird versus games.
Lots of compilations of better games, but like Street Fighter 4 in 2009 basically set the tone for the fact that like Evo was a thing, you know?
I mean, look at this footage and then look at footage of King of Fighters Maximum Impact. And that's the 6th generation of fighting games.
Yeah, it's like King of Fighters 11 came out on the PS2.
Yeah. That game is like
and 75 iterations of King of Fighters 98 and 02.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Paige is just like rewatching the isolation part, and he just says that your description of Alien fans are accurate. That's about it.
Goddamn right.
But yeah, okay, 14. Moving on. So can
Hewitt's talking about didn't Virtua Fighter, Tekken, Dead or Alive, and Soul Calibur all beat Street Fighter to 3D? But also keep in mind that aside from Virtua Fighter 5, which did nothing, like none of those games did anything for like fighting games as like a popular genre.
Like I'm not even talking about like the move to 3D is kind of like interstitial. Like that game is 3D because at this point in time you had to make your game. You couldn't have made a sprite-based Street Fighter game and sold it for $60. So it's the game is in 3D. And it kind of looks like of its 2009 Xbox 360 game. I'm not gonna lie, like it's you know, the MG framework ran console games at a good frame rate, and that's great. You know, for its time, it looks very. I'm sorry, what score? What are we on right now?
Controls itself.
It controls exactly like every other fucking Street Fighter.
But yeah, I just
max it.
Talking about the gaming culture, like one last time, it's like I think if you look at the PlayStation 2 and that generation era of fighting games, and there's just like not a whole lot. And not a whole lot people look back at fondly. And the ones that do look back at it fondly is kind of a small group, where Street Fighter 4 came in and basically reintroduced the genre, not only to a wide audience, but like gave people who were like super traditionally into fighting games, like a new game to play. in a way that fighting games hadn't had in a long time.
Evo probably wouldn't exist anymore if this game didn't come out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I
Which
think,
is
I mean, maybe
that is a
someone,
big thing. That's a
maybe
huge thing.
someone would be like gathering a bunch of people in, you know, some ballroom to play
Right.
Hell
King
yeah.
of Fighters, whatever, maybe. But like this game
So
is
come on
incredibly
by to
important.
the Game Statistic ballroom in the fighting game tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, so controls.
The max.
They are basically the third strike controls
Yep.
plus a focus attack.
Is it the standard? Like, would you like? Is it out of place nowadays, or is it
Same
still like?
6-button combat. Street
It's-
Fighter
it's-
6 still has it.
Street Fighter, yeah, it's a pretty standard
So,
button layout.
yeah.
They didn't mess with it too much. But when you get into the mechanics of what a focus attack is, but I don't feel like that's control.
If you know how to play a fighting game and you sit down with Street Fighter 4, you're gonna know what you're gonna do.
Like if you came off of Street Fighter 2,
Yeah,
you could easily jump into Street Fighter 4 and be like, oh yeah, perfect.
except for throwing.
throwing.
It is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So system utilization.
I mean,
You have a
fighting
life
game.
bar, or ultra meter, and a super meter.
And a super meter.
Oh, damn.
But there's no silly
Fighting-
gimmicks. There's no gem system. Speaking of
There's no
cross-
gem system.
Fighting games are pretty hard to fuck up. So
Focus attacks are, some people like them, some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle.
I like them a lot.
When I go back to like thinking about the way you linked into Ultra, like you can't cancel into Ultras in this game, and that's I think a really important defining. Like when you went to Street Fighter V, and with this conversation about Street Fighter V, people weren't happy with Street Fighter V when it came out. But when you could cancel special into your super, and you're like, holy shit, that works now. I don't have to figure out some weird juggle from an FADC into Ultra anymore. That was pretty cool. I wouldn't really dock it that much overall. Like Ultra.
So you
juggles
wouldn't
are a little
give
weird.
it perfect on control, then you would
Not
dog
in
it, so-
control. No, controls are great, but we're talking about system utilization. I think focus attacks are fine for what they do.
You would say the
But
stuff
if
kind of
I-
added to Ultra, maybe make it not perfect.
I'm not even talking about the stuff added to Ultra. I'm talking about Ultra attacks, the attacks, not Ultra the version.
Oh yeah. Like
Because
there's
this game's big super move was the Ultra. You had like the
Revenge
Ultra
meter.
gauge and the revenge meter. Yes.
yeah. Oh, this was like the game that started with the comeback
Yeah.
mechanics.
This game started comeback mechanics in a way, and some people don't like those. I don't think they're a terrible thing. I think people bellyache about them too much, but I think it's okay. Anyone here with Street Fighter 4 experience, would you dock this thing points for having a revenge gauge and focus attacks?
I like the revenge system. It was like a nice way to get like a comeback.
Yeah.
And then focus attacks, I enjoyed the creativity you could get off a focus attack, because you charge it up and then you could like dash cancel out of it to like get away from the opponent or like approach them, and you could like really change up your pressure, and that really, depending on like how you use your focus attack, you could vary up your play style. Like everyone played this game differently.
I think when you think about that, use meter to cancel a normal into additional pressure to extend pressure. Like this game having a very simple way, like easy to understand way to do that, is I think a good thing. I think when you get into the era of like, and this changed in later versions, the era of like wake up, sure you can FADC out, of just like this super safe, completely non-committal reversal option. This game had a lot of like, especially in the earlier versions, had a lot of issues with just like non-committal, completely safe defensive options like throw teching, where you could block and in the middle of the block string start mashing on crouch tech and like avoid all throws. And people like eventually they changed some of that to make it a little harder to like just make that bulletproof. And like characters did have ways to punish that stuff. And like that's a discussion about like fighting game balance that I don't think is really the scope of this conversation.
Yes.
So I don't hate focus attacks. I
I mean, that's the game
think they're
itself.
fine.
Like, And want your game
Yeah.
to be like, if the point of the game is to be competitive and it's not balanced, like I would definitely call that a big flaw.
I mean,
Like-
no, it's not the fact that it's not balanced. It's the fact that it leads to this game being very defensive. It leads to this game being very, like, vortex pressure heavy. You knock a guy down and you set play that guy to death.
Yes.
Even Ryu does that. Like every character in this game is like you throw him onto the ground, you jump at him, you it's your turn, you apply your pressure, you try to hit them, and then that hit is going to lead into another knockdown so you can do it again. That is this game. And a lot of fighting games are that game. You know, Guilty Gear Strive is that game. Most fighting
Under
games
Night?
are that game. Under Night is that game. Oh yeah, Under Night's definitely that game.
Is Under Night this game?
Holy shit, Under Night is that game. But so yeah, I think it's just, I don't want to just give this thing a perfect score and be like, yeah, this game is perfect and flawless and untouchable.
Basically, like, should we
I'll say-
almost flip this to how well? I just keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry.
No. I don't want to ramble on forever about this thing. I think giving it a 20 is fine.
Yeah.
I was just more like open
Because-
to be like, if someone's like, no, dude, focus attacks ruined a whole generation of fighting game players. Join my Twitter and I will give you a wall of text about why this game is like. If someone is on that fence, I don't want to just run them over.
So we were talking about Justin Wong and
Yeah.
Dago again.
Was it Evil
Yeah.
Moment 23 or whatever?
That was a great. Yeah, they played that.
That's a
at
third
literally
strike
the-
moment, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin Wong, I've seen him in person. Short guy.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
I mean-
Okay. Convey
How
information.
well does it convey information?
Okay, I got no problem giving it.
Press a
It's a
button
fucking
and it
fighting
goes.
game.
Yeah,
I would
fucking
okay.
fighting.
Maybe the one thing, you know how like fighting games have tutorial modes. How I don't remember. How good is it at like keeping track of your button presses and the combos you're doing in X, Y, and Z? That would maybe be the one.
Did the training mode have like a frame data thing?
No, this is way before that. I mean, for its
Even
time,
even final ultra version.
no.
So for its
Okay.
time, good, but it's been one
For
up
its time,
since.
the training mode was pretty standard, and now it's like, yeah, it's missing features.
So like a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So high.
that's fair.
All right. Good. Good catch. And then yeah, sound design. It's definitely within striking distance of being fine.
had some memorable songs.
It
here
has some
and there.
memorable songs. I think the thing people dock it for is that when you go, like, this game has a very like
Techno-y.
bold, like techno-y, like modern sounding vibe, and when you go from listening to the Third Strike soundtrack to this one,
It sounds
and
very
like
plain.
the volcanic rim when someone's at low health and it's just playing that one guitar lick for 20 seconds,
Yep.
it's kind of a little
Repetitive.
some of the sound design of this game is not great. I'll give you that. I don't think it's bad. Like none of the like stage themes are particularly memorable to me, but some of the character themes are. If that
I
makes
have like
sense.
one stage theme in my head, and I couldn't tell you the name of it. Was it the boat?
The boat's good, like the Brazil, like that one's good. The one that's like Dawson stage in like in India, that one's really good.
Yeah.
But then I think like Volcanic's Rim. The back alley stage has a good one. It's not none of the soundtrack like really stands out super strongly, I think. Some of the character themes do, but most of those character themes are just remixes of their old
Street Fighter
themes,
2.
right?
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 or 3. So I think it says something like my favorite tracks in this game are remixes of older games. And I think it's worth mentioning that. Like Seth, look, because we're looking at Seth right now, does not have a memorable stage theme. I can't even
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
And the rest of the stuff, like punches, kicks, ancillary sound
Like
effects,
all
significant
the
music.
kicks sound, like how you expect punch kicks to sound.
Yeah.
And Ryu says Hadouken, and
Yep,
he
does
says
do that. I think some of the I think like some of the sound design and some of like the ultra attacks, especially some of like the like I'm thinking about like this like the Balrog's Ultra 2, he did the dirty bull and he'd grab you and headbutt you and do that whole thing. I think
Yeah.
that has a real nice, satisfying, like crunchy,
Meaty
like
sound, yeah.
I just fucked you up because you did an attack and I countered it, and like it sounds that way. I think that's nice.
Yep.
I'd give sound design like a 3 or a 4. I think the soundtrack's a little.
Yeah, I
flat,
probably do 3, I guess.
Yeah, I think 3 is fine.
You're hiding the score. Good call.
What?
I was
Oh,
like,
you're getting the banger score, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I have to do basic arithmetic. I can't.
Target visuals. This one's tough because as this game aged, it's looked worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it like
Yes.
it has stylized visuals, but it also has like half realism. Like I really like the ink thing is like it's big.
Yeah, the ink thing is really cool.
And that stuff holds up, and they've even stuck to it.
I would say it's very
Street Fighter's
anime. Like, this is definitely like an anime. Is probably the style. Like that is how these people are drawn.
But it also looks like a Xbox 360 game.
2009. Yeah,
That's
it
pretty-
does. And it looks like an Xbox 360 game from 2009 that they
Yeah.
released a new version of in 2014. And like
Yeah.
it looks the same. I'd even go as far as to say some of the characters they introduced later looked kind of rough. Like some of the Ultra characters. I mean, we have to bring like it does factor into the conversation. We talk about the whole thing. Some of the Ultra characters are a little rough looking, because they feel like a game from a different engine or like a different. They feel like they're ported from a different game because they kind of
What's
are.
the max score on visuals?
Well, it's
Visuals?
yeah, just a 5.
5. So what do you say, like a 3?
3.
Yeah,
Like crusty, not great.
It's a little crusty. It's not ugly. It's not an ugly game. It does have some
looking
style.
kind of crusty.
It's got
Some of its parts.
Yeah, it's average. It's an average looking is what you're trying to say.
I would say this is probably a 7 for some of
It's
its
probably a
parts. right?
7.
Yes.
Like when I think of Street Fighter 4, I'm like, fuck yeah,
Yeah, it's a.
Fun
I mean,
factor.
it's a cool fucking game. Fun factor, it's one of the best.
Fun Factor is a very fun game. I like this game a lot. Like I don't know what to tell you.
I had a lot of fun playing Street Fighter.
Had a lot of fun with Street Fighter.
The story, Ryu wants to be the best.
No,
Man, we really almost
Seth
need, like,
is this dude, and Ryu goes and beats him up.
Can I
So-
hazard maybe like considering the story when they want us to, like when the story is a bigger factor in the game, but if it's more like a sports game, a fighting game, or something that's like it's not really, should we just
Yoshi
max it out?
game.
Yeah, should we just max it out if it's like that's not even their point? They're not even trying to.
I think we can assume it's maxed out unless anyone ever has any
Like
point.
I would
Yeah.
argue that Seth is a bad final boss character.
I don't even know what he does.
He has a
He's
yin
a-
yang belly.
Yeah, that's it.
He's the SIN. No, he's not SIN. What the fuck? SIN is Sea Viper's thing. He's not Shadaloo. He's the fucking what's the evil organization that makes
Look.
I couldn't tell you.
him?
Look, he's no Gil. I think we can all agree.
But basically,
Yeah.
like, if story ain't even like on the fucking radar for the game, like, should we just max it out?
No.
Like, I mean,
I don't think
No.
that's completely fair because I think
because
I
every game
do
doesn't
think-
really have this factor in there, like that.
Because I think when you play through the arcade mode and you get to Seth does kind of suck. He's kind of a bad final boss.
Damn,
Is it like
I don't think
a
it-
4?
I don't think it's like I think it's
I don't
maybe
think
like
it's-
1 point.
like a 5
on this
sure.
thing.
You're like,
It's 5.
All right. For its time again. Like it.
It's great.
Yeah, can't even.
I mean,
Play fighting games now because
What do we get?
it has to like. Oh,
It's
good.
doing nothing. It doesn't
Fucked
have
up
to
the
go.
math.
Oh no! Oh no! We fucked up.
Well, I guess it's not on the list.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
it's sorry.
alright.
Goodbye, Street
Well,
Fighter 4.
that's very.
Where did the
Okay.
where did my score thing? I didn't fuck with the nothing.
I don't know.
You did.
Did you
It should
copy this
be-
into something?
It's one of those. Oh no! I
You
think I
copied the
clicked on the
formula
cell
into-
that the thing. Yeah, the picture copied into the formula.
Awesome.
So I better
Cool.
just.
Can you
I
control
better
Z? Well, no, you-
Actually,
you
yeah,
lose
no,
all the-
no, you're right,
You,
you're right.
lose all the math though.
Oh, I
You
don't.
use the scores.
Oh fuck! But what if I just? Yeah, you're right. Oh man. I'm sure I'll go back on stream and just watch me like manually delete it and be like, what the hell are you doing, you moron? Like, why did you just do that? But anyway.
Too many numbers here.
Oh yeah, I don't like these numbers here. No sir, no sir. All right.
Reminds
So
me
that's
of the mathematics.
They should do
So
a
this
rollback
is,
update for this game.
05
Oh man, just play Ultra Street Fighter 4
On PC.
plus
on PC, and then
The netcode's not good there either.
07
listen, I'm
plus
trying here.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's just
08
it's a weird conversation to have
plus-
because like genuinely, if Capcom was like, hey, we're gonna do a rollback update for Ultra Street Fighter 4, I would be like, hell yeah, let's do it. And play another month or so of Ultra Street Fighter 4, even if that meant I had to buy it again.
It is really funny that it's like when you say Street Fighter 4, I'm like, fuck yeah. But then when you say you want to play Ultra 4, I'm like, no.
Ooh, yeah, it's that. It definitely.
Okay, I got a
get it.
93 though. 90.
Nice. I will
So,
accept it. Xbox
pretty
360.
pretty damn high, as we say.
Pretty good game.
Yeah,
All right.
fighting games are great.
Yep, they're still good.
Well,
How's everyone feel? That was one round. How's everyone doing? I guess.
I'm good. Getting a little hungry, but I can wait.
All right. In that case, any other interesting? Oh, I think Beige said The Sims isn't in. The Sims is not on any list.
I mean, this is literally going to take 10 years to like cover every game that we
The
possibly
Sims?
want to cover. No,
No.
because it's like, I mean, The Sims is like not in like the top 25 PC games I can think of. That
Is it
I would
not?
volunteer for this list.
Not for me, not to me.
You can't
What?
think of
The Sims rules, but like, I'm not,
24 PC games better than The Sims. I don't know,
probably,
man.
yeah.
I mean,
Stalker.
I guess my feeling on a lot of classic PC games is that I can't. It's very hard for me to get into them. So
Sure.
that's probably. 'Cause
Could you
I'm
get
thinking,
into
like,
The Sims 1 right now? Could you and Mortimer Goth go places these days?
That's a good question. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
let's-
Anyone got any Hail Marys? Or they wanna?
Anyone want to put anything on this list?
Yeah. How about Ace Combat 4?
Oh,
You motherfucker. Okay. Ace Combat 4.
Which will not be the only Ace Combat game that comes up in these discussions.
Exactly.
word? Really? You're gonna do multiple Ace Combat games? You're not just
Yes.
gonna stick with one? Okay.
At least two. There's at least one other.
Is this it? Ace Combat?
That's
All right.
Combat 4.
Tell me, okay,
It's
before
not
we have this
copied
conversation and we get into the story part, does this game take place in the Strange Reel?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then this kid's get. Okay, then I can.
Ace
I can
Combat
go.
6, I think, is the only one that doesn't. Maybe the first
Okay.
one. But
Yeah, the first one is
rest-
just like. It is.
Oh no,
is
Ace Combat 3 also takes place in like the far future. 4 is definitely like the start of the Strange Real Weirdo saga.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can feel good about this then.
All right.
All right.
Effect on
I'm
gaming
gonna-
culture.
Nothing.
Unlike the other beloved cult games we've discussed, Ace Combat still gets games made nowadays.
Yeah, it
That
gets
is
games
true.
made nowadays.
And
But
it
what does
even
that have to do
has
with,
like
enough.
a super sick fan game.
It does.
Game's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Game Pass. You can buy it.
Honestly, like for a PS2, I'm kind of like, damn, that plane looks pretty
it
good.
does look
Oh
really
yeah, the
nice.
planes look great.
That looks
It does
really,
look really nice for a PlayStation
pretty
2
good.
game.
Mhm.
yeah.
Frame rate's
Actually, yeah.
solid. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is pretty solid.
I mean, it's rendering one thing.
yeah, but
Occasionally, it renders other things.
It renders a missile, but it's mostly like the plane.
That miss.
It's a good looking
okay,
plane.
those buildings, yeah, but like that plane and that, oh my god, yeah, like that looks like a really good shot.
Like on the PS2, yeah, this is a really impressive looking video game.
This is.
But yeah, like there's like a fan game that came out a couple years ago that's really amazing. That was made by one guy that looks incredible.
Mhm.
And like they made Ace Combat 7 like 4 years ago. So still around.
Still doing it.
But it's like it's a very niche thing. Like the
Yeah.
the
We're in the
arcade
cult
playing
territory
sim.
again.
Mhm.
Yes, I mean, look, we'll get to like the boring games that's on everyone's list eventually.
I mean, remember the era of like every Star Wars game was one of these, and then there was
Yeah.
like the Air Force Delta Storm games. There used to be like way more of these, and then it like this
Right.
is the one that lasted. I think to me that's the thing that speaks like this is the one that like has survived all
Right.
that crap.
If I like of all those games, this and Ace Combat Zero are the ones that's like, here you go, play them now.
Yeah,
Star Wars, Starfighter, any of them.
it's like 1,500 of those.
Right.
Gee. I mean, episode
So-
1 Pod Racer is a fucking slamming racing game.
Yeah, I would say it's like whatever you gave God Hand, like a 6. I'd say this is like a 7.
Alrighty.
Sure.
It's like slightly above God Hand.
Like people still talk about it nowadays. People still lament that it's you know, they don't make more of these, and that Project Aces didn't get to make these after 6, I guess, for a long time.
When did Star Fox Assault come out?
This is
Asshole.
after this
Star
game,
Fox
but that's like
Assault.
2004.
Star Fox
Isn't
Assault was
that old?
2005.
Also Namco though, wasn't that? Like
It's
the-
Project
is- yeah.
Aces. They made
Yeah,
that.
yeah, this is
Or
now.
at least the flying sections, anyway.
Oh, you mean Star Fox
I-
Assault?
Yeah.
That game is
Star
not a
Fox-
banger.
Not Star Fox Command.
Nope.
That was 2006.
Yikes.
So, controls. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've played like 90 of these games. They control like a dream. I don't know RJ, if you have any objections, like they're
Yeah. We're
Oh,
kind of
yeah, Zoom.
what am I objecting to? Because the
kind of
game's
relying on you.
yeah, it's like I would say a 25. Like these games, fucking like
the only thing I could say is that someone's would be like, I can't play plane games because the controls are inverted.
Oh, fuck them. That's just.
yeah, they're
You can't play
wrong.
them. They're just wrong.
Like I think that at least like even 5, which I'm not a crazy fan of, like just the PS2 trilogy, the Holy Trinity.
Okay, I need to see this like on PCSX2. I need to see this in like better
It's
resolution.
gonna look it's gonna look very good in that. Like
Yeah, I really want to see because
I
I'm
feel like-
I'm impressed right now with what
Did
I'm
they
seeing.
ever like fix PCX2 version?
I must
I
see
guess
what this
so.
game looks like.
I'm sure someone's been able to.
this is one of those games that might have like HD patch
Mm-hmm.
retexture kind of.
Yeah, like when I say like
Yeah.
if you look up Project Wingman, like
Oh, boy.
some dude made a game by himself that like looks unbelievable, and it was a solo project, and it looks like a
Yeah,
modern
I'm
day
seeing like
AAA
ground
game.
texture shit going on down there.
Right.
Yeah.
I do
People who like
remember
this
it
game
was-
really like this game.
This still
But-
looks like holy, like from a distance. I'm kind of like,
good.
Yeah.
damn.
I remember being like, hot damn, yeah, like it definitely if you like squint a little bit, it's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like at a
Once you
glance,
get
at a
super
distance,
close.
Mm-hmm.
Do
yeah,
you
the
feel like
buildings up
these
close look
games-
pretty bad, but like
um,
right here, this is like, damn, this is very good.
Jim, do you feel like these games? Because I know because you own it. Do you feel like these games control better with the weird flight stick, like?
I've
arcade
never
flight stick
used
Never
the
used the flight
stick.
And so you don't feel like you need it. If you
No, I've never felt like I should whip the stick out.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like each of these games has a tunnel mission, which is where you have to navigate one of these planes through a very very thin tunnel.
Mhm.
Also,
Anime.
yeah, there's like a pretty sick anime story.
What the
Oh
fuck?
yeah, the story of this one is
Yeah,
pretty
This
cool.
is
like-
this is
it's
like
like-
range reel.
Yeah.
I did not think anime
Oh.
was what
Yeah,
the hell
dude,
this
Ace
was.
Ace Combat
Ooh.
is melodrama incarnate. Those stories are so extra and they're so incredible.
Ace
Ace Combat Zero has
Yeah.
FMV cutscenes.
Holy shit! Like even now,
yeah.
like god
Ace
damn.
Yeah, like were you saying,
PS2,
Brent?
calm the fuck down, Jesus.
anyway, controls maxed out. Some of its parts, I think it's 4 specifically like, system utilization. I think 4 specifically like doesn't have any fat. It is.
It actually uses the pressure sensitive buttons on the PS2. Because if you hold down like square a little bit, you get a smaller map. If you press it down all the way, then it pulls out to show you the bigger radar map.
That's right. Yeah.
So they used seeing like artifact stuff. There it is.
Yeah.
That's
You
No,
know.
but like, even without that, like until you get really close, I'm really blown away. But yeah, like once you get close, it's like
Yeah, and it's like, ooh, oh boy.
Yeah, the magic is gone.
But like, damn, from a distance, that whatever you guys did, you just nailed it. You understand how to do what you need to do.
I think that's why this game still has like rendering problems on emulators.
Why?
It's like
There's too much of a Chad. It just. Now it's all close to the ground.
I can't think of any
Of any like
anything
extra-
because there's like there's a million planes and you can even like they give you like stealth bombers that go super slow. But you can still beat the
But
game.
they look cool.
They do look cool as hell.
Right there, A10.
Ew.
Yeah. Like the mission variety is pretty crazy. It's crazier in the later games, but 4 still has quite a bit going for it.
Alrighty then. So you
I
want
don't.
to wrap 20?
I can't
Is
think of
it-
any reason to not give it max points.
Alrighty. And then presentation. How
Convey
if I were to play
information.
this because I'm a new. Let me
It
see if
gives
I can figure
you-
out what's going on. So yeah,
You can
got-
see how many bullets you have. You can see how many missiles you have. Maybe the one thing is like it does not plain jargon, but there is like usually like special missiles and stuff that sometimes it's like, wait, what exactly is this?
is my objective to go towards like the orange blinking dot by any chance?
That's what you're currently locked onto.
Right.
During story missions, what they'll do is they'll put like a red label that says TGT, standing short for target, and those are the things you need to kill to beat the mission. Other missions, there's a little point counter at the top left. Sometimes you need to hit a certain score, so you just like the number that's not being shown right now. That will tell you what you need to get.
Yeah,
points wise,
if you rewind that for a second, you saw
Yeah,
he
the
opened up
radar,
the map and
yeah,
you saw
yeah.
the red dots. That's the enemies you need to go after.
Yep. So it looks like yep. I would probably just fly towards that. I have some shit I can use. I
You
would
press
am I just
missiles to attack. It like you've seen target lock-ons. You can see the reticle. Yeah,
seems pretty straightforward to me. Seems.
There's nothing.
It's pretty arcadey. I mean,
Right.
the first what was it called?
Air Combat.
Arcade? Air Combat was an
Air
arcade game.
combat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Bingo.
Bingo.
I will say this is not this is not for or against it, but that UI for Ace Combat 4 at least is the most PS2 looking,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
turn of the
They're all
century,
like
yeah.
lime green thing.
Yeah.
Metal
Like,
Gear
it just-
did it. We got to do
Yeah, Metal Gear
Yeah.
did it.
Well, it probably saved a bunch on rendering.
it. It
Yeah.
did
It's
too.
just a bunch of green lines.
Alright. Sound design.
I
So
like
like a-
the way the planes sound.
Plain
Yeah,
And I
sound good.
and I love the way the enemy is like screaming into the microphone as they get blown up.
I can't hear the music. I remember the music more in later
Oh.
games. Is
I
it good?
remember the entire soundtrack for Ace Combat 4.
Okay, well,
Jesus.
there you go.
Is this one
It's-
of those like squealy butt rock guitar all the time games?
It's
As Japan.
very orchestral.
Oh,
yeah.
never mind.
Ace Combat Zero famously has like a bunch of music using Spanish guitars,
Oh,
and that's the one I'm gonna argue a 5 for.
yeah.
Like, I would say, like, yeah, it's really good. I don't know if it's like the apex of sound design in games, but if RJ thinks it's a 5, I won't argue against a 5.
Pretty much. Remember, like the max score is like it's either at standard or it's like the trendsetter.
Right.
So
I mean, as far as plain games go, like, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't think of better sounding plain games.
Yeah, I go back to Ace Combat 4 all the time to hear that music.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'll agree with the 5.
and then
Target visuals.
I'd probably go
that's-
for 4 on that one.
Do you have visuals on target?
But the flaw being like as you get closer, you kind of the magic does go away. But like from a distance, I'm kind of like, fuck. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Like if you had to stay at like this distance away, like maybe. But
You can definitely tell it's like still a video game. I mean, even if
Yeah.
you got rid of the UI. But yeah, no, it looks really great.
Yeah.
I'll
4.
ride with you on that.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Some
Yeah.
of its parts can't
Seven.
speak on that.
Yeah.
7.
Game rules.
Fun factor.
Very.
All the way.
All the way. Yeah. I mean, like if playing games are your thing, and you go to look for a playing game, would they have fun with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I point the Ace Combat 4.
The story, as far as like melodramatic anime stories about a man returning to his youth and remembering the pilots he ran across as a kid during a war, that certainly has a lot more going for it than most video games, certainly of its time. I remember the story being very good. Like perfect points for story, I don't know. It's been a while since I played the game, but I do remember. I remember the first time I played the game being like, "Oh wow, this story has like a way more going for it."
Yeah, because like no one was expecting. Like, I was not expecting like the story. When I first played this game, I did not realize the story was about like a guy retelling his like experience of being like in a war and like meeting like all these different guys. Because I was a kid and I was stupid. But later on, and then played it again recently. I was like, oh, this like story has like way more going on than what I had originally thought.
Which is like when I look at because like I'm only aware of like the franchise. When I look at this box art, I just think like military game. I had no idea this was like a fucking anime at all.
Ace Combat 3 is probably even more anime.
Ace Combat 3 is ridiculous.
What the fuck?
It takes place like in the far, far future.
I am missing out apparently.
These games are great.
Okay.
So yeah, what 5, 6?
Yeah.
Like it's like the one thing. It's like this is around the same time Metal Gear 2 came out, and I love the story in this game. I love the story in lots of games, but it did try something for a story. And if you're going to do that around the same time Metal Gear Solid 2, like I don't know if you want to. I don't know if I want to say it's a
Basically,
6 the way Metal Gear Solid 2 is a 6.
No, like is this the benchmark of like a game story? Is what we're asking.
Probably
no.
not.
So
five.
just like a 5.
Yeah, I'll go with 5.
And then for its time.
Max. Yeah, I'd say 3.
Max.
I'd say this game's incredible and
90.
yeah.
Yep.
Sure.
You and your crazy
Anime
daisy
playing
outliers. You and your crazy playing games. I did not see this one coming. Like I didn't think I was gonna be talking about Ace Combat 4 today.
When maybe not the first discussion, but like soon after, I was like looking up PS2 games, like Ace Combat 4 is gonna be on this. Talk about it with RJ, and he was like, "Oh yeah."
I'm like, yeah, you're right. It sure is.
Like this is one I had no doubts once I remembered this game. It was just like, yeah, Ace Combat 4 for sure.
All right.
For sure.
All right, I'm gonna try another little. I'll throw in the original Xenoblade.
The original Xenoblade?
The original
Shulk game.
I guess
This is gonna be.
I will take the
RJ,
most. I will take the
I think
most.
so much.
The best version of the game. So I will be taking the Switch version, Xenoblade
Oh,
Switch.
So are you putting it in the other gen?
the 9th gen. Because
Damn, this
it's
is
just like a port, right?
honestly, yeah, because
I would.
it's
okay.
almost like you re-released it. It's the same game. You added shit to it. This is a weird case because yeah, it's a banger on the Wii, I would think, and it's
So
like
when it comes up with games like this where they've re-released it later, even if they added more stuff, I think you should still count it as the gen it originally released in.
okay, I'll do that compromise.
Unless it's like,
I'll
unless
do
it's
that.
like a huge departure, like the Resident Evil 2 remake is a
It's a
different
huge
game than
departure,
Resident Evil 2,
yes.
whereas Xenoblade
I
on
agree.
Switch is the Wii game with a little more extra.
I'll agree with this. Yeah, I will be using the Switch version, but we're gonna count it in its original gen.
I mean, the only argument I'd put against that is, Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii when it came out looked rough. because it was a Wii game.
For the Wii? Yes.
It's an open it's an open world action RPG.
That's Xenoblade 2.
This is the wrong one.
It's the wrong
Get
game.
that trash out of here.
You can put that
Fuck
on there
you.
if you want.
It's
Hold on. Xenoblade 1, yeah.
was on the new 3DS. It was the only new 3DS game. Oh no,
that's
that
true.
and
Majora's
It was
Mask.
Hyrule Warriors.
Fire Ward. Yeah, it was one of the Musos. Maybe Fire Emblem as well.
No, Majora's Mask was the Majora's Mask 3D was also.
That's not new
It wasn't.
3DS.
It wasn't
that-
a new 3DS exclusive.
Was it not?
No.
I thought that required the little analog nub.
It did not. You could.
Oh, I think you could get the little.
You know
I
what?
think you
I'll
get the
just-
little bonus thing
I'll
that
go
they
with
sold
it.
with another game. Yeah, just use the Wii box art.
I'll just use the Wii box art. Like, fuck it. But
If we're counting it as a Wii game, and then
I
we can
will
just
be considering. Yeah.
yeah, sure,
it's-
whatever. It's our list. I don't care. If anyone
It is.
hates, they can hate elsewhere.
You can hate right here. I'll just ignore you.
We need some games to not make the list.
Oh, I got a few.
I think it's just because all of us are like picking things where we're like, yeah, and then as we run out, we're gonna go like maybe, and then
I feel like if I get
That's-
another shot at it this session, then I'm gonna pick a maybe
yeah,
and go like.
The thing is, there's like we talked about 6 games, including
Yeah.
Xenoblade.
yeah.
So
not very many. Like we're still
Like-
pretty young here.
yeah,
there's
I mean that's what
very
I'm saying. This
many-
is gonna be just a lot of these, and eventually, when
Peter
you know,
out. Yeah.
we'll either get bored of talking about games we love and talk about El Shaddai, or
Are you saying El
Oh, yeah.
Shaddai is not a banger?
I'm
Are you
saying it's up for debate.
You don't want to ascend to the Metatron?
Look, I'm saying it's up for debate. We have yet to have the discussion, and time will come where maybe El Shaddai comes up.
It's just like one of those RPGs that like literally turn some people to RPGs.
Xenoblade Chronicles.
At least for the Wii. I
That's
never like this.
close.
I remember like this Pandora's Tower and like another one being like kind of like
Last
a
Story.
big deal.
Last
Yeah,
story.
Last
that-
Story.
It was
like-
because it was like 3 like RPG Japanese games that were just not coming out to America, and I think a lot of people took notice of like, hey, we should release those here. People want to play them. Operation Rainfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Operation.
I feel like
Rainbow.
Xenoblade is by far the one that is the most relevant, though.
Yes.
Like I know
absolutely.
those other 2 happened.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
sure they're
Xenoblade
fine. Like
went on to
Jim, you're
just
a
keep
big
going.
Pandora's
I
Tower.
love Pandora's Tower.
Yeah.
I've not played Last Story, but I've played some of Xenoblade, and I've played all of Pandora's Tower. And Pandora's Tower is the one I'm like, yeah. Xenoblade, I'm like, yeah. So
This is the game where he says it's rhyme.
Now it's rhyme time.
Now it's
Watch
rhyme.
one time.
Yeah. That's how he says it.
Oh man, I love
Yeah,
it.
I played probably 15 hours of Xenoblade.
I'm probably in the same Mechonis and Bionis.
Yeah.
Which like, I mean, how far did you get in it when you're?
I didn't make it to the other side. of the
I
game.
also did not finish. I was near the end though.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've played a vast majority of the games.
Yeah, I played a good chunk.
There's that woman who thinks that Ryan looks like Gatto, and he's not
Her
happy
name's
about.
Charla.
Oh, no,
Charla. I was afraid her name was not Charla, and I was just like projecting a European-sounding name onto her.
Charla or some shit. I don't know.
Charla, yes, I remember Charla. But I feel like I played like a lot of several hours of this game. I haven't done it in a very long time. And to play it now, I would need to dedicate probably over 100 hours to finishing it.
Not even
Right?
that.
Like it's a
No.
long ass game.
It is a long
Maybe
game.
I did like 20, 25.
There's no way you finish this game in 25 hours.
Yeah, I sure did.
Did you just skip every cutscene?
No.
Did you just do none of the side stuff? You just ran from
Oh no!
point
I
A to
was
point
like,
B?
the moment they gave me a thing, I was just like, I'll accept everything, and then as I'm playing the game, just do the side quests as I'm doing them. Is how I always do.
And you
it.
finished this game in 25 hours.
Yeah, like around that mark.
Really?
I'm going
God,
to.
this game felt like a 10,000 hour game.
Yeah, I mean, there's
I mean,
like
as
this
you
quest
go
for
back
people
in and
who-
you're like, I want to do more. I want to grind for the best stuff. Then yeah, it becomes that. But like just to make it through, like
I mean,
25, 30.
I'm seeing
Something like
like the
that.
lowest people. It's one person
Like a 50-hour game.
68
sub 30
hours for
hours,
main
yeah.
story. Main plus extra is 100. Completionist is 61.
Are you sure you
161.
weren't actually running it in fast forward mode on Dolphin?
No, I did it on a Switch. That was like my first play to completion because I didn't like the Wii.
Motion
Actually, no,
control.
not even that. It's just I guess I just didn't get into it. I was just kind of like meh, and then I started with Xenoblade 2, and I was like, oh, and then I went back and played 1, and I was like, oh, because I
Are
don't
you sure
like
you played the whole game? Are you
I
sure you
tend
didn't
to
just
not
get
like
the part-
RPGs. I do not like RPGs, but I like Xenoblade. I don't know why.
Are you sure you didn't just get to the part where what's her name dies and you're like, well, I guess that's the end of the game.
Well, he lost the love interest. It's over.
So it's weird. It's a weird ending, but okay.
But yeah, like I really like those characters. I like that group. I liked anything involving them. I like the combat system. Like I'm trying to think of like its effect though.
Let's
like,
vangerize this. Where do we all think its effect on gaming culture lies?
effect.
Well,
I know it's one of the
think it would rate a
stronger
decent
RPG
number
series
just because
for
of
sure.
people. Operation Rainfall.
That was a
People trying
big
to get it.
thing back in the day. It still has sequels getting made today. It has Shulks and Smash. What, like a 10? Not like
10.
super iconic, but it certainly
Mm-hmm.
is
really
a
good
beloved
RPG.
RPG.
Yeah.
Which is like hard to do. Like JRPGs are not the most popular thing, and somehow this weird
Modern
little...
day, sure.
Modern day, sure, but
I
Back
think
then, everybody.
Big Squaresoft.
Final Fantasy VII was a sea change in how we
Right.
release video
That's
games.
that's like
Mhm.
that's probably a 15.
That's the 15.
So Xenoblade
Yeah.
a 10.
Sure.
I'd go with that.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's about where I put it.
Controls.
Controls. It's a
I
lot of
remember-
menus and sticks, and you
A
move
lot of
around.
menus.
Yeah, I remember like it being.
I
a
would
little
dock the
confusing.
system utilization for that, then not the controls itself.
I remember when you push forward chalk runs,
He does.
Yeah, these are pretty hard control scheme to fuck. Even like now, 3 sequels later, it's identical. Even like back on the Wii, like yeah, this shit pretty much still handles it the exact way it did.
Yeah, with like JRPGs like this, I mean, it's a little more involved than navigating a menu, but it is still like it's mostly, you control a guy running around and then you pick stuff from a menu.
Mhm.
Yeah, like this is
It's not
standard.
world breaking, but it's
yeah. I would just say standard. It is the.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change it.
Sure.
There's nothing to really update.
so system utilization. This is the part where
systems,
it's like
Yeah.
we're gonna lose
how
points
easy
here.
it is to understand. How
I want to let me get my points out the way because
Sure,
I think so there's like a whole like gym system in Xenoblade Chronicles that I did not realize was a thing for 75 hours of playtime.
Oh my god.
But they tell you.
Yeah.
Did you
And
not read?
I like, okay, cool. And I mess with it and they're like, yeah, so you like push A and then you start throwing things in a furnace and then somehow these gems pop out. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, all right, cool. This is like a weird mechanic. And then you start getting like materials, I guess, to make more gems.
Hmm?
And I think at some point I stopped doing it and I did not care for it because it was just like there was like a bunch of like minor numbers to go up. And it just didn't seem it didn't really, like it wasn't like encouraging me to like do.
You didn't like the gem systems, basically.
No, I did not like the gem system. I think gems in games are usually bad.
Any others you'd like to?
I don't think this game has as much problems with like the UI, like when you're going through like inventory stuff, because there's not much inventory in this game at all. I
will
imagine it
say-
could be better.
in the bit I played, I definitely, this might be more me like 11 years ago, not understanding things, but I definitely kind of felt like a lot of the skills and combat stuff, I wasn't quite sure if I was doing it right or if I was just like hitting attack enough that the game kind of played itself in spite of what I was doing.
You didn't get the
sometimes.
combo system, like
Yeah, some of that stuff was just like, and maybe if I played it nowadays, I'd figure it out better. But I feel like at the time I was like, I'm not quite sure if I'm playing the game properly.
I think it's just because like you can like on the right difficulty anyway, like you can slide through with just like I will just pick attacks and I will literally just like ooga booga my way through.
Right.
Versus
I mean, I probably
if
played
you do-
on normal.
if you
so.
do like like on normal, I would say like in the post game is when it starts like you better understand how combos work, you better like do the buffs right, you better have the right shit, you better have like a strat basically is like
So-
when that starts to
We say
I would
like,
even say like later on normal too. Like it definitely picked up. I couldn't do the final boss without strats. I couldn't do some of the pre-final boss without strats. But like a fair bit into the second half. I was
RJ,
like,
what would you score system utilization wise?
Okay.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
I would just say like I remember thinking the combat is very solid in this game, but I also remember feeling like I was constantly being introduced to new combat systems. Like I played this game for probably about 20 hours, and I felt like even then I was still getting like, okay, here's how affinity is going to affect your combo attacks, and here's how you slot these gems into this, and here's how like all these little extra systems.
Yep.
That's
a Xenobladeism.
But like that's fine. But like
no, it's not good. Like
no,
it's not good that it does that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like,
Even into
I don't
its
think it makes
sequel.
the combat terrible. I actually thought for JRPG combat, it's actually pretty fun. Like it's kind of active, and you're kind of having to make decisions on the fly, and I kind of like that. But it just
it's overwhelming.
less layers. It's a bit overwhelming.
Especially
fun though.
like,
Yes.
yeah, coming up with 3, it's definitely like now like I can see how much this is very primitive compared to like its sequels, like with all the fusion combos, driver and blade combos, all like they really like added on so much more to like what this thing could be. So it's definitely like this is a good groundwork type thing, but yeah,
They put
it's
more.
definitely
There's a lot more.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
I just remember like every 10 minutes, like he's awakening the Monado's true power again. Like
it
he's
never
doing
goes
again.
away.
Like it's
It-
glowing
it
a different
never
color.
does.
Like
Literally
Xenoblade 3.
2 and 3 is always like, oh well, now you got the Super Saiyan robot form, and I'm like, what? Okay, well now you can get 2 of them. Okay, now they go together. Okay, now you chain attack. Okay, now you can do a chain attack in this order, and it will do something else. And you're like, but this is like the room before the final boss. Why are you telling me this just now? Like, bro, what do
Holy
you?
shit, really?
What
So,
is
yeah.
this? Any other things you want to tell me about?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
cool, but it's like I
that's-
need a notebook. I need like the Crib Notes version of this. I need like a textbook on how to play this game.
Oh, that's the
Like,
annoying
something.
thing is that it's not even that complicated. It's like you could have told me all this from the get-go and I would have been happy. Instead, you space this out at like a really
Several
weirdly
hours
slow
at a time.
pace, and I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's my only thing about system utilization. It's not that it doesn't utilize the systems well. It's just that it has a lot of systems to utilize.
Mm-hmm.
If that matters.
I would say like the fact that you got 3 to a team out of a total of 6. You have to keep rotating them out to pull off certain strategies. You cannot remember like certain builds. Like if you build your team to do one thing, there's no way to save that. You have to literally build that team, do the thing you're doing, go back in, build a different team to do another thing as you go along, which like Xenoblade, it finally took them until Xenoblade 3 to fix.
They actually added like
Like
profile saving or whatever.
Yeah, like Xenoblade 3 is like finally like, hey, you just build your team and you can save it. I'm like, thank fucking God, because this was getting old. That like you're asking me to literally change characters and you just make it super fucking tedious. Affinity system, fucking stupid. Just like literally just grinding a group of friends who spend all their time together to be even more friends to unlock certain things. Really dumb. The fact that some quests can only be done with certain weather conditions, really fucking stupid.
Weather conditions?
You can only complete
Oh,
certain
but Shulk has
quests.
integrity, but Charla has devotion.
Oh yeah, so like, what the hell is any of that?
Yeah, like that's my thing. I'm just like,
my eyes had glazed over like 5 minutes ago. You just talked about it.
Yeah.
So what we say that's like a 5 for system utilization.
Oh man, I'm definitely not even like that low. I'm giving it. It's probably like a 10.
Not bad, huh?
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's.
I mean, you're the
a
champion
lot-
here, so
Yeah,
if
you're the
you're
champion,
if you're
yeah.
saying that, all right,
There's a lot of kinks in this first one.
Hot.
all right.
a lot.
Well, on that note, how well does the game convey information?
It tells you
Oh, boy,
everything.
here we go.
It tells you everything, but very slowly, and very slowly is very bad. So, let's fucking 4 or 5.
I'll
Because
say when we were looking at the gameplay, you had that up, and we were looking at the combat. It looks like a parody of JRPG combat. Like all those menus and all the like things. It looks like someone's like Photoshop. Like this is what RPGs look like nowadays. I'm like, yep, it is.
It really is.
also
Xenoblade
is
3
what-
also suffers from that problem.
Yeah, it's just like all this shit on screen.
So what, a 4?
Convey, yeah, like it literally tells you everything. It's just the way it does it. It's fucking garbage. So
I think
4
4.
or 5, 4 or 5,
All right.
4.
How does it sound?
Amazing.
I love the music. It's amazing. I love the voice acting. The
voice acting.
No. I love that so much.
Can't have a
Right
rainbow
on.
without Ryan, baby.
Yep.
So 5 maxed out.
The only
Yeah.
The
pointy.
temple.
Pretty. Are you like only considering the soundtracks when you're talking about this, RJ? Because like there's more.
There's like a slash
What?
effect.
Well, because like half the time the music is completely overpowering the sound effects, and the sound effects and they're good, but like I'm mostly thinking of the music.
Like
The music is
when I-
bad. Like
go
Xenoblade
ahead,
music
Ryan.
is. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I love RPGs, or just like these kinds of games in general where you have a party and every time they do some sort of special attack they yell the thing, and this game has that energy in spades. Like every time you're gonna do the backslash, he yells backslash, and I think that's great.
Forward against the odds.
It's like the
Oh.
best Tales of game.
Oh, do you want
I
to do
think that's-
your
I think that's
Demon
fun.
Fang from Lloyd?
Demon Fang. Demon Fang.
how
Yeah.
And
do
I
you
must
think,
be a genius. Double
how do you
Demon Fang.
think the game looks?
Like the Wii version would be like no. The Switch version,
The
I'm like
Wii version
yes,
It's
yes.
very crusty looking, but
Yeah.
I love
But the
the droopy
definitive
eyes.
edition, yes, you did it.
So do
I
we
would
give
say-
it points? Do we dock points for the Wii version being crusty, or do we
Yeah.
not because the
I'm
Switch
pretty much
version,
exclusively talking about the definitive version here. Like that's the version I'm propositioning up.
like the Wii version.
like I mean, even by like visual stylings and all that, is
I'd still
this
dock it
like,
points because it's like the Switch limitations as well.
right? It's not like I think like the tentpole on like stylish looking games might be Okami, and
Oh, for sure.
this
yeah.
is like kind of a mix between anime and real, because you know it has,
I think
like,
it's got
real
like
pictures and shit.
the characters
I'm looking at the
definitely
screenshot,
benefited
I'm like-
from like that update. Like, but it has some like gorgeous one.
Yeah.
It's just like we're gonna do this crazy ass environment that's not Earth like. Like they do a phenomenal job. Like
I'm getting a lot of Final Fantasy X vibes.
yeah, like they
Yeah.
fucking hit it out of the park when it's just like here's this crazy. You're just on this big robot and it's nature and like the swamp baller. This area, yeah, like the high Antia, amazing.
Sure.
Biona's shoulder, beautiful.
Those
I'd say,
menus,
yeah.
brown, perfect. So, what would you say?
But yeah, 4. Like around there.
You think you agree, RJ? Ryan?
Alien Isolation and this have the same target visual score.
Yeah, well, they're going for different things.
Does
I
this?
don't know. When I so
This
my
is not.
experience is
This
only
is
with the Wii
not.
version.
This is not
Let
the
me the Wii
standard.
version.
My experience is only with the Wii version, and I just distinctly remember getting that game, and like I was living with you, Jim, and I remember being like, "Holy shit, we spent $50 on a fucking PS2 game."
Hell yeah.
Do
it
Which at the
again.
time, oh yeah, hell yeah. But like, even for the the Wii version is the one that sticks out in my mind, and I know
Yeah,
this.
I'm thinking of
cleans up a lot.
yeah.
I would
does.
say
This is
this
a
is
lot.
not impressively anime the way Alien Isolation is impressively 1970s space.
Yeah, I feel like this is. I feel like a lot of games look like this.
A lot of games look like this.
I feel like
Like-
yeah. Again the
Like,
Tales
do
of
the Tails
comparison.
game? Yeah.
works really well here.
With
of
Tales
just,
of
like,
Final Fantasy X at least. Like
I'm just saying you were very hard on Alien Isolation in a way that was just like, okay, wow,
I didn't
okay.
even surrender a 3 if it's just like the average RPG thing, because I'm not familiar with a
Yeah.
lot of RPGs. Is this like really just run of the mill RPG?
maybe it's. I mean,
Because that's what I'm asking. Like,
it has
is
a
this
lot of
really
variety because it's so
run of the
long.
mill?
Like it has decent character design. It has a lot of variety. The environments look good, but I just feel like we've
So
been
average.
this
been
looks
very
like
harsh.
yeah, this looks like
on the
stuff from
score.
like visually. Like there are parts from multiple Final Fantasy games that kind of had this weird
Yeah.
purple alien vibe.
Yeah,
Um,
like, oh, this is like a
and
Fantasy
also
Star
like an
Online
industrial
situation.
sword thing.
Yeah,
Like when I think of Xenoblade, I think of the big open fields more
Yeah.
than like the alien stuff. The open fields look nice.
they do.
Like
they do look
like
nice.
especially at like Dawn. Yeah, I just remember going like, this is like, you're on a Switch and you're still making things look like this is visually nice, which is hard to do.
Do you want to go with a 3?
But yeah, like if this is like run of the mill like JRPG in that case, yeah, sure.
Like it definitely has. I can look at this game and be like, oh yes, Xenoblade.
Oh no, I
um,
think it looks nice.
But like I'm not like yeah Xenoblade. That's
I just think in your head you're still trying to like make the one-to-one comparison of like Alien Isolation definitely like looks
no
better than
like
this,
I'm
easy.
even thinking of
But,
like
I'm just
other
this
like
is-
RPGs, like not in fidelity but in like style. It's not unique, not fully unique at least. It has, you can tell it's Xenoblade, but you can also tell like yeah this is like a JRPG,
Like,
the
if-
way a lot of JRPGs are.
If the tentpole and visual style for JRPGs is Persona 5, maybe, but this
what
is
the
not
fuck?
that.
I
This
need
is
to
the-
see some Persona 5
Oh, Persona 5 looks.
just
The
for
5
my
is
own
Very
reference.
stylish looking game.
I gotta see
Um,
Persona 5 for beginner.
Okay, I don't know about it. Long to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, show me some part in the middle. Okay, that's an anime.
That's literally
That's
anime.
What the hell? That looks like Catherine almost.
Yeah, 'cause same people.
Catherine is the same guy.
Yeah. But like all the fonts and all the menus and all of the characters and all of the stuff in this game, like
You're
if we're
in-
calling that the like stylish tentpole like game that literally looks like an anime that you play, and a very stylish one at that, then Xenoblade Chronicles is not this.
No,
Yeah, I think
these
that's
are almost
fair.
two different things. Like this is like too modern almost. This is just like, yeah, this is Japan in an anime style.
But then you get
This
into
is
the
an-
dungeons and it's not.
This is an
Yeah.
anime. Yeah, I'm trying to. Please show me.
Yes,
You have
that
the-
displayed Xenoblade X on the Wii U.
It's
Yeah.
because you're in the beginning of the game, and so now you're in the dungeon part.
Did I
Yeah,
skip over
like
it?
the SMT series and the Persona series are unique in where they take place too.
Hmm.
Like in like the brain dungeon of a sex pervert is
Yes, which is where you are
not
right
many
now.
games take place there, but lots of JRPGs take place in
know.
big fields and in like an alien like purple land.
Yeah, like if it's like run of the mill and it's doing its job, then like sure, 3, right? I
Yeah,
don't.
if
I don't
if no
fight
one
that.
has any objections.
Yeah, I
I don't.
really don't. I don't fight that. Yeah.
All right,
And then,
some of its parts. This would definitely be from the two people.
think it's like
oh
a-
shit, man! Like the some of its parts is almost like a why I would dock points almost. like the combat banger, the characters I love them, beautiful to look at, soundtrack amazing, and then you just put in like here's this menu, here are the affinities, here's the quests, and it's like this is so. It needs so much work, and all the evidence you need is like the sequels. The sequels fix a lot.
I think it gets like a 5 because it is
Yeah.
still.
This is clunky.
It's clunky, but like it does work.
It works, so like fuck, man, you could have done better. You
Yes.
could have.
Let me let me ask you: would you have rather watched the Xenoblade Chronicles anime? There's not one, but if there was one, and it looked
Yes.
good and it sounded,
Mhm.
would you have rather just watched it?
Oh no,
Instead of playing,
I like playing. Nope, I want to play it.
So it's not like the game was not fun. It's just
Yeah,
it comes
I liked
together
it a lot.
weird. Okay.
I like playing it until it's like oh yeah, I'm ready to go do this thing. Your affinity isn't high enough. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Like these are, just let me do the mission. What are you talking about? I don't care that it's not raining. I want to do this fucking task. Like, why are you doing this?
Fun factor. Is it fun?
Is it fun?
Is it 5?
5.
Yes.
5.
I think it's fun.
I'm docking it just for like those fucking annoyances that come up with this system. But yeah, it's fun. Okay, do you agree with like a 5, RJ, or like?
Yeah, I think about a 5. I like the combat.
All right.
Story? Yep, that's a 6.
Story is really good.
Why do Bionis and Mechonis have to keep on fighting? I have to find out why.
Do you? I can spoil it, but I don't think you want it.
No,
I don't want to know.
I do want to play.
I'll one day go back and finish the game.
Because it is a wild ass ride that I did not see coming.
For 2011.
Or 2020.
Right.
The fact that all
Orange
of this fit on the Wii was fucking insane.
I think it kind of. I'm not gonna say it was like a revival for JRPGs
No.
It helped.
because
It helped.
JRPGs are not revived in any capacity. Not certain. Maybe Persona would, but I would say like there was not anything like this back when it came out.
Yeah.
No,
This was
absolutely
think-
not.
Like a
This
breath of fresh
was-
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, what's
we
the
got
damage?
76.
Wow.
Ooh.
Damn. So our
Xenoblade
first
Chronicles.
L.
Certified not a banger. Our first L of the night. There was.
Yeah, first.
Forgot what else we
But it's like on the cusp of being a banger, and you know what? If I was talking to someone, that's probably what I would tell them. Like, it is on the cusp of being something like good, but man, it has like a lot of kinks holding it back. That's like exactly what I would tell them almost.
Damn.
All right, so that's an L, and I need to highlight it.
Ryan.
That was a shocker to me, but all right.
I'm gonna guess we do one more from Ryan, one more from RJ, and wrap up for the day.
Sure. Yeah, I'm down. Let's-
Jim, what have you? What? Oh, you did Ace Combat.
Yeah. 'Cause I am getting hungry, but I could probably hold off for another.
I'm hungry. I actually.
Oh,
how about? Hold on. I need to. I'll be right back. I need to use the bathroom.
All right.
I just-
Then RJ, how about you go and we'll have Ryan wrap up.
Why don't you just eat during? I was just eating during the whole time.
Oh, well, I'd have to go like make food.
Oh, yeah.
So I noticed that Gen 9 is looking pretty empty. In fact,
It
there's
is.
nothing
You know
there.
what? Hold on. I'm gonna just like make a little extra box really quick and just call them not a banger.
That list is gonna get pretty big now.
Oh yeah, it is.
We'll have to go back to
I-
watch the first VOD and find the game we
Mhm.
turned away, like your Lego Racers or something.
Lego Racers.
Oh, that's a banger, so that wouldn't not make the list.
I think I do have a consideration for a banger for Gen 9.
Ooh,
Ooh.
I have the PS5 classic, Ratchet and Clank.
I just said like PS5 Mini. Like they've made the minis for the PS5 now.
They're shrinking.
They are getting smaller, you can say.
All right, watch
All right,
the
so
Gen
our
9.
first.
So for Gen 9 for the Nintendo Switch,
Here we go.
Metroid Dread.
Hey, alright.
You might be the sole one because I've only gotten part
played
way
it.
through that game. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread. Love it.
That game rules. But is it a banger?
That's the question.
The answer is yes.
I'll have to consult the map because if you told me Xenoblade wasn't, I'd have been like,
I'll let you decide. But the
What
answer
are,
is
we,
yes.
what are we looking at? Metroid Dread?
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
Why
played
is
this
it
yet,
s-
so
Why is it
man,
so
I
hard
want
to
to.
find
So
box art?
Samus is dreadful.
Did you say Samus is a red woman?
Is dreadful.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
Yeah,
The fuck?
I've only like I don't know why I have not gotten to this, but like
Neither do
everything
I.
I've been told is that this game is like one of the best Metroid games
Ever
It's-
made, yeah.
maybe ever. Like, yeah.
It's pretty great. I do love
Yeah.
it.
There we go. That was harder to do than I thought it was. But
Like
okay.
people were like, oh, like this will come out and it'll like kind of keep us satiated until Metroid Prime 4 comes out, and then you play and you're like, how is Metroid Prime 4 going to live up to this game? It's basically that was that's the review I heard, and I'm like, damn, okay.
Which is funny because like the Metroid Prime games are all like really good.
Yeah, oh yeah, no,
It's
yeah,
just
no,
like-
Metroid
Yeah.
Prime 4 is definitely
Metroid
something to look forward to.
As a series is gonna probably come up a handful of times.
I think
So
It
for the
is.
newest, its effect on gaming culture. It's pretty
Understand.
new. Lots of people like it.
so.
But
John
like
Cena likes this game?
John Cena,
Does he?
John
John
Cena had his
Cena.
people tell Nintendo that he loved Metroid Dread.
I'll keep it towards the beginning for no spoilers.
It's very good.
Alright.
So
What the hell? Samus.
Yeah,
Enemies,
that-
The
enemies, enemies.
animation. This
Boss,
is about the
boss.
animation.
oh, this is like a
Yeah.
Oh,
This is a
video essay.
this is a video essay. When I want.
Stat, did you make that
play.
video?
Uh,
The glorious animations. Of
Does
Metroid.
everybody like the video? If so, then yes. If not, then I did not.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was like a 79 on the banger scale.
Imagine getting a 79. Oh, but yeah, this one's hard to say. This is just like, is this
Yeah,
a
it's
revival of Metroid? Is it too early to tell?
So Metroid
Don't know.
Dread, before Dread, the devs of Metroid Dread, I want to Mercury Steam, is that their name?
Yeah.
So before that, they made Metroid 2 Samus Returns, the remake on the 3DS. And that game is a pretty cool remake of Metroid 2. AM2R is better. But they basically took everything they learned about Samus Returns and applied it to this game. And it really shows. Like, they really improved what was like a pretty good game and turned it into like one of the best Switch games to ever come out, in my opinion.
Like, I just
yeah.
remember going like, this looks really like, not even for the Switch. I was just like, damn, y'all stepped it up. But that's about it.
Yeah, like I think it's really hard to tell. So one thing is like you can't like I mean maybe you look at a game of the year list or something, but it's like this was definitely like maybe in the top 3 games of last year. And it's like I mean people are like, oh yeah, Metroid Dread, yeah, that game's really good. But I don't know if people are like it's not like Elden Ring. It's not like people are like ravenous about it.
Yeah,
But it's a
definitely.
new game. I could definitely see them making more. I think it did well for Nintendo by Metroid standards. Do we want to have like what would we? Because it's like it's so new that I don't know if we can really
It's almost like the inverted problem. Like older games will just kind of have technology against them. Newer games will just have like we can't really say against them.
like older games are more like the for its time problem where we don't know because we weren't in its time. Where now it's like we don't know
We don't know.
because we're in its time.
Yeah,
I think it's also like this is the first Gen 9 I mean, I know
Yeah.
Xenoblade technically had we were kind of considering the Switch version, but like when I think about because what did we call it? Gaming culture, impact on culture. The way that games impact culture now in this gen is so different because you mentioned I think about this because you mentioned Elden Ring. I'm like, well, Metroid Dread didn't have a million streamers playing it.
Right.
It wasn't that kind of game. It didn't lend itself to that kind of engagement the way that Elden Ring did. And like, should we count that against Metroid Dread because it's a single player game you finish in 15 hours?
I think
10 hours?
honestly, like in this specific category, yeah, you kind of have to, right? Because because it's like we're looking at it in the time where it would have an effect on gaming culture, and we can tell it's like not in the same way something like Elden Ring or like Valorant or some other Fortnite kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like Fortnite. We may not like Fortnite, but it's like probably it's a 15.
Oh,
in that
yeah.
regard.
It had its like month of streaming when it came out, and then I think
And then it just fell off.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
didn't have a
people-
life after that. Like this is
No.
the ultimate like games writer for like games writing like GameSpot or IGN top 10 game of the year favorite game that like anyone under the age of 20 is not going to play because they don't care about it. It's just not in their
it
line
would
of
be
sight.
someone who's like wanting to get into like
Mhm.
games deeper than as like the passive multiplayer hobby you play with your friends.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh yeah, I've heard Metroid's cool.
Someone is making the active decision at this point. Someone is making the active decision to want to play a single player game by themselves on the Switch that they have. They bought Animal Crossing for, which is not an indictment of those people or this game, but it's worth bringing up that like the impact on current gaming culture. Like you can't consider it the same way you do Metroid Prime. You know,
Right. Or
it's-
Super.
or Super. It's just different now.
Hubert Lover actually makes a funny point. The speedrunning scene is big on this game, which is akin to
Yeah.
Yoshi's Island.
Yeah, which is akin to just like, this is once again we're dealing with niche, so like around the 6 area. So
Yeah, what did we give Yoshi's Island? That's probably
it was like
possible.
It was like just
6
got
or
under
7?
the door. Effect on gaming culture.
You went with like 7. It's average right now. Maybe it'll
7.
go down in time.
So,
Or
As of right now, it's like people probably know Metroid Dread as much as they know Yoshi's Island.
I would say
so
I would
I'd
say
that's
below average. I would probably define as it gets out there, it does its thing, and nothing survives. No speedrunning scene, no niche scene, no multiplayer scene. It comes and goes. Metroid Dread
Well, I would say
came,
that's
and
like
then
that's like a 3. You know, a game where
that's like
people
exactly a below average versus
right,
like
but like a 7 is slightly below average. And
And
like
then,
I would
like,
say like
yeah,
you know,
but
like
like that's
Xenoblade's a 10, where it's like it's still kind of relevant to this day. Metroid Dread being so new, I'm sure. Like I'd say I think Xenoblade's actually like more popular than Metroid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would also-
yes,
I would agree.
yes. So and we gave
Um,
that a 10. So yeah, I wouldn't even
So
like
what,
go
like
with
a
that.
7, 8?
Yeah, I was like
I was
seven.
trying to-
I think a seven probably.
seven or something like that. Like if
Alright.
it still has at least a speed running scene, that's like we're in like the niche territory there.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Facts.
say if this game remains on people's like the 5 games for the Switch you have to own.
Right.
You know, if I'm looking at that list from gamescritic.biz or whatever, I'm actually
Gameplay?
surprised now if this is not on it because I've
Right.
how much of a critical darling this thing was.
Like if I'm like if there's like a, you know, in 5 years from now, there's someone who was 10 when this game came out and wasn't like really into video games at the time. And they were like, what are the games I should get for my Switch that I didn't play as a kid? This will be one of the like 3.
And then
So-
controls.
Like, that is 10
are
years
we
from now.
like
That is not.
how we
Control,
do
yeah,
controls are
it's
fucking
like
Oh,
That's
that's
a
a game.
I would say like not max, because there's a couple of things you have to do where you have to hold like 4 buttons to fire.
really.
That's
I
true.
didn't get that. I didn't get that far then.
It's
'Cause I
like,
was like,
it's
this
like
is
you have to
really
like
good.
hold the bumper to switch to a missile type. You have to then aim the stick, and then you have to press the fire button.
Oh,
And
look.
it's a little,
Like a twin stick shooter. Way,
but it's
I guess.
it's like
Not-
it's not perfect.
Well,
A
how
lot
would
of
you
it
improve upon
really.
that if you could?
What?
Like, I guess like. So you're saying like you have to aim at something with a missile? Is that it?
I probably like there's some things where you can't toggle. You have to like hold the bumper down to switch
To-
to this firing
yeah,
type, and you have to continue
missile
holding
mode.
it down while also aiming with the stick and then firing. Like you have
Oh,
to do
you just- you
different-
want-
you have to do 2 different things with your hands.
You want to toggle.
That's-
You want to
Is it
toggle
called
button.
Metroid Fusion?
Yeah.
Because that does the same thing.
Yeah, that's it. You just hold the button for missile. Yeah, that's like a standard Metroid, and then you aim.
I'm just saying.
But like
It-
you want a
it-
toggle button, which is like I
It's a-
can see
it-
people.
it's a
wanting-
control-
I don't think
Controller
it's
don't have-
perfect. I think it's like super high because it's one of the best playing games I can think of, but I don't think it's perfect. That's all I'm saying.
I have a Daco point then, like 24.
I'm fine with 24.
Okay.
I like
Yes.
so when I think of Ace Combat 4, I don't think of anything that's like, oh yeah, I have a problem with how this plays. I have a slight problem with one thing in this game, and so yeah.
Which is like,
How do you-
What?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I keep cutting people off. How does everyone who's played this game feel about the ME system? Because I feel like every time I heard,
I liked it.
Okay.
So the ME system reminds me a little bit of Alien Isolation or
I liked it.
Metroid, not Metroid Dread, Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, Mr. X
whole
stuff.
being like, yeah, Mr. X stuff. And so,
Can you eventually get rid of them? Because like, can you eventually just kill them? Like when you get all
Yes.
the power ups at the end of the
Yes.
game, which is like what I was hoping for. I could see it being like, okay, you just want this acting obstacle to do a thing. Cool. As long as I get to come back and explore in peace when I have all my shit, I'll be happy. That's what
There
I was
are
kinda
ways
looking
that
for.
you eventually get rid of them
Yeah.
in each area. It's
so
like
because the thing about the enemies is that they're all sectioned off in their own
Little thing, yeah.
section. So like,
To be a
you
threat
know,
when you need to
when
be.
you're going to be entering an enemy zone. So you like,
Yeah.
you can prepare for it.
basically the way the game advances story-wise, or more gameplay-wise than story-wise. But like you get the tool from that you use to navigate the area that eventually gets you into a room that gives you an item that lets you kill the enemy. You then go kill the enemy, and then you have free reign to explore that area.
Which is like, yep, that's all. As long as like that's an opportunity, because like I didn't want exploration in certain spots to be like, oh, I gotta like run around this
Like
guy.
in order to advance in the game, you have to usually kill an enemy in an area. And
in which case, yeah, it's just a little obstacle you have to play around for a moment. Yeah, that's
and
fine.
then you get to freely explore the area after that. So
Yep, fine. Completely fine.
I think it handles that really well because it gives you the chance to go back and explore, which is what these games are. But also giving you the stressful situation in the moment when you're exploring.
Best of
the
both,
first time.
yeah, best of both worlds. Just-
Yeah, so I like that system. And also the like, because you get multiple opportunities to parry it if it catches you. It's you get like a 2-frame chance, so it's not high. But also the checkpointing is really good, so it's more of a nuisance than like a huge terrible loss if you die.
What other fucking system? I mean, yeah, it pretty much works identical to most Metroids. Like you'll get like that. You need to go here. You'll find some rooms you cannot go into till you have the thing. You can explore around a little bit, but again, I don't know how well this compares to the other ones because I just haven't beaten it.
I played Fusion right before this game. I liked Fusion more, but it's very similar in so many ways in that it's like, you know, the apex of the genre in a lot of ways. And the fact that this one was made by like not Nintendo in-house, and they were able to pull it off this well, I think is really impressive.
I mean, Metroid Prime wasn't made in-house either, so
Yeah, and it's really impressive.
a lot of Metroid games aren't made in-house. It turns
Actually, yeah. Actually, yeah.
out. It turns out Nintendo doesn't actually.
You know,
like the
that's a
game.
fair point. I'm unimpressed. I think we should.
No. I mean,
All right. So, Metroid Dread, not a banger. We're throwing it down. Well,
Put it
you
on
tried.
another spreadsheet.
Yeah.
No.
All around me are familiar
We stopped
faces.
at, what did we stop at?
It
Why
doesn't
is
matter.
Gears
I
of
think
War
we-
coming? I haven't even mentioned Gears of War yet.
Yeah, that's the next discussion.
Oh,
it
no.
might be.
So,
Oh, shit.
Gears of War again.
Go up
so
to
yeah,
hide the.
what
But,
was it?
so,
Systems utilization. I
Can you think of
have
any
no
flaws
complaints
or
about.
no complaints?
It utilizes everything, I think. Especially with those Shine Spark puzzles. Oh, yeah. So good.
Oh
Plus
yeah, like
the
it's actually
fact that
mandatory now.
There's
for that
so many
option.
things like.
Well, they're
more
not
than-
even mandatory, they're optional, I think, for the most part.
And it's also like maybe more than any other Metroid, having Optimus
M2R.
Prime, and maybe M2R. The number of like skippable things. Because I remember, you know, Super was like, oh yeah,
Oh,
like you can
you can
skip
skip
like entire bosses and
half
shit,
the-
and like you can like
yeah.
skip like large chunks of the game if you know like little tricks. that were like designed by the devs.
Yeah,
Fuck
and
yeah.
Metroid Dread specifically has like a boss. You can fight a boss and beat him quicker if you got an ability earlier. And there's like a unique animation that plays if you have this other item instead.
So they liked that fact about those games. They actually were like embracing it and not trying to force people down a fucking path. That's
Yeah.
so rare nowadays.
Yeah.
It's like by Metroidvania standards, it's impressive in a number of ways that you can break the design. But if you don't know how to do those things, then and you just go the way the developers intended, it's still like just incredibly smooth experience.
So convey information. Anything wrong? Because it pretty much tells you like you pick this up, it does this. Here, use it in this room. Okay, now you understand. Go.
Yeah,
Like,
there
it's
was
like
nothing I remember being lost on.
quintessential game design is like, yeah, that is the standard. Sound design, I remember being pretty top tier as well.
Yeah, the Emmy beeps and boops are creepy. Just the Metroid vibe, it's really
Making
good.
the Metroid sounds when it does it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Plus the the traditional Metroid sound, the do 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 do.
Yeah, visually, I know like a
Visually?
Metroid is
Oh,
probably more towards like those like lighting like that, like when they just do shit like that. I always love it, but yeah. Besides,
So,
like
it
the
definitely
nature of
has
being on the
a, like-
Switch.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, but
Dock, I would dock a little bit on the visuals because
I would dock a point as
a
well.
lot of the environments are very like meh.
Yeah, there's definitely like I played Fusion right before, and it's like, oh yes, this is the zone, this is the zone, this is the zone. Where I don't really, there's not a whole lot of super distinctive areas in Dread. That it's like looking at this hallway, like I couldn't tell you.
Looks
where
like any
in the
other
shit this
hallway
is.
in the game,
Yeah,
to me.
I couldn't tell you where in the shit this is.
Yeah.
Is it the fact? Is it because the game looks too generic, or is it just the environments blend together too much?
The environments blend too much.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. I'm not saying a game that with no style. It looks like it has a style to it. But if you're saying that, like, yeah, but as you go into the different areas, it kind of just continues the same sort of
Right.
aesthetic, and so it makes things hard to tell apart. I get that.
Like it
Yeah.
gets a little like oh like here's
I'm
this
gonna
is a
risk
place with like
jumping
a bunch of
ahead
trees
just to
and
see,
stuff.
just to see if it does change up. I'll just kind of hop around and see like does anything change? And I'm seeing some.
That's different.
But it's also like, the doors still look the same. It's still kind of got the blockiness to it.
That's okay. How about over
s-
here? Yeah, that.
Careful, you might get into like in-game stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a short.
Yeah, like
thing.
that like there, like see this?
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
like
did he-
the stuff in the
is-
first
like-
area.
Is he
area, but it's-
backtracking though? Yeah, he
I'm
might be
seeing what you're
backtracking.
saying. Yeah. There's some.
Oh,
I
for that
mean,
one.
it is a 2D Metroid game, and they kind of, even though it's a 3D game, they kind of want it to look like a 2D Metroid game.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like the little blocks being cubes everywhere. Like, yes, because that's what you visually understand as this is the thing you blow up.
Yeah.
You can roll under this height as a ball.
right. Yeah, like the blockiness isn't
Yeah, I like this
necessarily
one.
what bothers me, but it's like it does. This is the underwater area.
I kind of grasping what you're saying. They don't really
Yeah, okay.
deviate from this too much. is
Like
what you're
even
trying to
like
say.
you notice like the delineation like is all everything in between the like the red is like the hard black blocks, and like they could have done a little bit more there to make that stand out versus like, oh, the underwater zone is hard black blocks interrupting all the different water environments. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just like, I feel like a lot of it blended together to me. And, I think like there's parts that is different, but, it's still like, oh, that's on the ship.
But that's like the only thing I really like detract from it is it's like sometimes it just feels a little too samey.
Mhm.
I get you.
So. Oh, I was just talking it because yeah.
So like a 3?
average does its job.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
the benchmark.
I think
of-
like when I think of like Fusion and Super, I think they look nicer.
Surprised by this.
Yeah.
Eh,
Than
no.
Dread. I know, but you're weird. So
That's y'all.
oh, 3-1. So you're the weirdo here.
Looks like racism is happening again.
Sorry, but that you can't pull that in this chat.
What do you mean? I put RJ in whiteface before the stream.
What was that?
Some of these parts.
Some of his parts.
Yeah, it's a great package.
Part Metroid, part Dread.
The great package.
Great package.
7 out of 10 IGN. All right, so fun factor.
Very fun.
Yeah, that was pretty. It's just
It looks
weird.
fun.
Like I don't, for some reason, I just don't seek it out. It's just like when I play it, I have fun, but it's like not something I just seek out to like. Yeah, I'm gonna play some fucking Metroid Dread.
I like burned through it in like 3 or 4 days, which is not really burning through a game this short.
Yeah,
Definitely something I sought out.
but
I was
yeah,
also
like,
like craving like another Metroid game, and so
Yeah,
for them to
but-
bring it out, I was like, yes.
but
I will say-
like, while playing it, I'm like, yeah, this is fucking.
As someone who doesn't like to like back-to-back games that are the same genre, much less the same series, the fact that I like burned through Fusion and then was like immediately burned through Dread, I consider that.
Like a hard W.
Yeah, yeah. So
Hard W.
Next.
Okay, how did that story all work out?
You know, I liked it.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
I heard she's a
Is it?
woman. I heard it's a woman over there. Is that true? I don't want you to spoil things, but
I can't spoil that. But yeah, I'd say it's like,
I thought it was a robot.
what's the max number here for the story?
6.
6. It gets like a 3.
Just
Yeah.
like go
Yeah,
pedals along.
Fine,
nothing.
forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
Fight a bird.
Oh, Samus, just how does the most awkward character like have this much like not going for it?
And I will
then
say-
for its time.
It's really good for its time.
Yeah.
Or it's time.
What are the-
It came out now.
What do the skins cost? Like what's the battle pass?
Ooh,
look
you're
like?
right. You
Sorry,
gotta make
pal.
it
No skins.
no
Yeah.
battle pass. You gotta
The
dock
battle
it.
pass.
80,
For its time, man.
86.
Yay.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah, you sure know how to pick bangers. There you go. There's
there
Metroid
you-
Dread.
It's so tiny.
The size of a Switch cartridge.
Oh, you have to make it blocky.
He
Oh,
also
man.
mirrored it, so now it's Imtroid.
Okay.
Detroit.
Metroid.
Now it's Detroit. I get you.
Oh no, not
became
again.
Is Detroit Become Human a banger? Let's find
You know?
out.
Oh my god.
Please no.
It's nice that these Switch boxes are so skinny because they're the only games that are going to be in Gen 9, so you'll be able to fit more in a row.
It's true.
What about Elden Ring?
Nah.
Are you not gonna put Elden Ring on that?
No, he's in.
Ooh, no, you're right. You're right. Elden Ring on the Switch.
What about Deathloop?
Ryan,
This is right. Yeah, so you're
it's your turn.
The ball's in your court.
If people still down,
Yeah.
if people
I
still
honestly
good?
like if we want to go even longer, I can like step away and make some soup real quick. But
I mean, like, I'm down for one more.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm down for one more. Is what I'll do.
All right.
Okay. I'm not super. I know you're like a couple hours ahead. Okay, let me think.
for the
I'm watching-
TurboGrafx 16,
The Bomb's Adventure. Okay, who in this room has played a TurboGrafx 16 game?
I have seen a TurboGrafx
I'll
16
be real.
game.
Never played one.
I've played like 10 minutes of Splatterhouse.
Okay, so I did play Splatterhouse, but I think I played the Sega version.
Sega version. Oh, Neo Geo. It's a really good Neo Geo
I
game.
do know of a really good Neo Geo.
Should we talk about Windjammers?
Let's talk about Windjammers
Why? Why do you
There it
always
is.
do this?
because
It is.
Because it's
that
fucking
game
good.
is certified. We don't even need to talk about it.
yeah, that's-
You can just slap it on there.
You pretty much just slap it on. I kind of want to do. Well, okay.
I wasn't expecting to talk about the first 100 banger score game of the night, but
No, I was also thinking like, do I want to put one on here that's like maybe not because we basically put everything on the list.
the first one on the
Xenoblade.
top left. Yeah, Xenoblade didn't make it.
Yeah, Xenoblade
Xenoblade
didn't make it.
The one in the very first one is the
The
Neo
very
Geo.
first one is the Neo Geo like box.
Official
There's also a
box?
Neo Geo CD version
Yeah.
of this game.
That's true.
It's also a game that got ported to PS4 and Xbox One
Yes,
and Switch. And
it's on the
stuff,
Switch.
so,
Windjammers 2. It's on the Switch.
Yes. Windjammers 2 is not bad, but we're not
Alright.
talking about Windjammers 2. We're talking about Windjammers.
So, effect on gaming culture. It would have been lower a couple of years ago, but it's caught on. It finally got a sequel.
This game has had an
What the
underground French esports scene for like
What the
Years.
hell?
a while. Like
Yeah.
I'm
there's
watching.
a scene.
You're watching the tutorial for Windjammers, maybe.
No, but like, what is wind? Is this like frisbee? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like Pong, but you control a character.
What the
Um,
fuck?
Dash, shoot, throw.
You can dash around the screen.
You can do cool maneuvers like that.
Custom combos.
There's various stages that actually differ in how they score.
Yeah.
And I'm actually kind of shocked he never played with us, Stat.
Yeah. I feel
Played a
like
bunch in college.
We did play a bunch in college.
Is this where it comes from? I don't think I've ever even seen it.
You've never
Huh?
seen it.
No.
I feel like we've played this once.
I think I would
Like-
remember Crazy Frisbee with Muscle Girl.
Yeah, the fact that you don't remember it means you
That's
never would have
weird.
played it, because,
You can't forget this.
yeah.
It's hard to forget. The big so you can dash around the screen, and the other big thing is that the power of the shot is determined by how soon from which you grab the frisbee to when you release it. So like the faster you play, the faster it goes, and so it just has this like kinetic, like constantly increasing acceleration to the game that just keeps the game. And like the scores are very short. Like you only get to like 14 points before a round ends, so everything is always just at kind of maximum speed all the time.
It also has a muscly American guy who says, "Oh, come on!"
He does say, "Oh, come on," kind of like a Ken Griffey Jr. baseball situation. It's so controls. I mean, it's literally 2 buttons.
Wait, effect on.
Effects
Like a
like a
six.
3. Like
Yeah.
it's very low. It's a very obscure Neo Geo game.
Yeah, I mean, even
Um,
the sequel that just they brought it out. Like,
They brought it out, and
Bought it.
I
the
played
radar.
some of the sequel.
yeah, I played a little
liked
bit
it.
with RJ.
I played
It's
them.
like them adding more to the game almost subtracted
Removes
from
from
it,
it.
though. Like, you know how like Mario Tennis on the N64 is the best one because it's like the purest one.
Yeah.
I think by trying to add more, they kind of lost what made it special to some degree.
I liked the additions personally. I felt like they were well thought out. Like they talked to that French esports scene about like what would you do to Windjammers in order to make a new Windjammers, and the decisions they made sense in the sense of like the game is more competitive.
Right.
Windjammers 2 is a more competitively sound game than Windjammers 1 is, but we're not talking about Windjammers 2. Controls. That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about now.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we're on just the controls itself.
It is a 2-button game, and honestly, when you first start out, you can play it as a 1-button game.
Yep.
Because the lob shot is not that useful until you kind of get the hang of it. I think the controls are incredibly simple and they work very well.
We have played Windjammers with someone who does not play games, and she was able to figure it out and win.
Yep.
That's like the ultimate
that's
sign.
the
But
hallmark
also-
of.
Also, the people who are like into this game in a competitive way will destroy you in this
Yes.
game. Like the skill ceiling in this game is extremely high.
Like,
People
it's
who
like
are
super low
into
force,
it.
super high ceiling.
Yeah.
That is very hard to pull off.
Yeah. It's
Systems.
It
how
is
are
you throw a frisbee at the other goal and hope that the guy doesn't catch it.
every character, there are 6 characters. Every character has a different like power to which they can throw and speed that they move around.
Right.
Each one
You're either
also has
fast,
their
you're
own-
strong, or you're average.
Everyone also has their own custom combo, and some of them are better than others. Some of them are just horseshit. And like the girl on the left here that you're seeing. Also,
Dog!
the single
I
player
don't even
is very
remember the
bad
bonus round.
because it's single player. It's very bad. The single player,
Yo, that's
like
part
the
of
girl-
it though. So single players.
here-
And
Yeah, that's maybe.
I
the
didn't
one
even
blemish.
realize there was a single
Yes.
player.
It's really not great.
Sure. All right. I
Um,
guess we'll have to dock points.
I mean, the single player is like the 2 mini games. It's like this one, and I think there's one other. So it's very
it's
inconsequential.
just kind of
but
tacked on. Just it's
they're super
there.
tacked on. But like some of the custom combos are like kind of whatever, like that girl's. But like the big muscly American guy, his is just like busted. It's just like
Japan,
well,
Korea.
If you don't guess right, then you lose.
Damn.
So it's not I wouldn't say it's like a super well balanced game, to be quite honest. Like it's the girl on the left here is like not very good. And honestly, BU is not that great either. Like, I
Right.
think you kind of need to be medium or heavy to really do it.
I definitely seem to do really well as the big
As
American guy,
as
whatever.
the big guy. Yeah, I tend to pick the Spanish guy. I'm sorry. What are we? What you need? I give you
System
need-
utilization.
System utilization. I think it's very good. I think it's one of those games that seems extremely simple at first because it's just Pong, and then someone does the thing where they hold on to the frisbee long, and then they lob it over the net and just
And
goes
it just
right
barely
over, and you're like,
clears it.
oh, I didn't even know you could do that. Like there's stuff like you play this game for a couple hours and you like discover new mechanics like organically. Like you can get hit with the frisbee and it can knock you down,
Or it can knock you into the goal.
Yeah.
or it can knock you into the goal and like it counts the goal.
So if we're docking points for
Hi.
single player,
Uh-huh.
what do you say, like a 18?
18 or 17, yeah.
Sure, I can even do 17.
17 for some balance. Like honestly, there's
Alright.
some stuff where it's like, yeah, it's
And
kind of don't play the girl.
I mean, I think that story you told us is of a person who does not play games can come in and just kind of
Yeah.
get it.
Get
Yeah.
it?
You tell
pretty,
them the toss button, you tell them the throw button,
Mhm.
you tell them if you wiggle the stick, sometimes other things happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's
Uh,
like, you can like, like in fighting games, you like tilt the stick forward in order to do like a Hadouken. You can like kind of do that to curve your shot a little bit.
yeah,
But
there's-
that's something you can pretty easily explain and just get the hang of.
It's also
Like-
something you don't need to know in order. Like that's a thing you need to know later. You can start playing the game without that.
Right.
And you can kind of be like, oh, by the way, you can do this other thing, and like, oh, by the way, you can lob the shot. Like if you get the custom combo power up, you can use the lob shot to do a different thing instead of the thing you normally do. So you can kind of fake out that way. So there's like you learn the layers layer by layer and like kind of build up this like more you build up more strategy as opposed to just like playing it super duper fast. Which I think speaks to its systems. But yes, the dog frisbee minigame is bad, and the game has some balance issues.
But as far as conveying information, I think like as long as you're with someone else and someone tells you the
Yeah.
two buttons and how they work, you know what to do. You can tell what the score is. You can tell how much time is left. You can tell, like, if it goes into the yellow, it's 1 point. If it goes into the red, it's 3 points.
No,
And then-
the red is 5 points, yellow's 3 points.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
The
The thing
game
I will
tells
say-
you better than I.
Yeah. The thing I will say is that like when it came to like curving the frisbee and like the because there's the whole mechanic where if as the frisbee's coming towards you, if you hit the throw button, you knock it up into the air, and then that's how you charge up the super customs. I had to when they re-released this game on like modern consoles, it came with like a page, like a single page of like here are the mechanics. Reading that made me understand of like, okay, it is a timing thing. Like there is you get it organically, but like when I read it, like actually
It like
written out,
confirmed what you
it
had thought.
confirmed, like it made it all make sense again. I was like, okay, that's definitely what you're supposed to do. Like when you curve the frisbee, it's a half circle. It's not a quarter circle. It has to be. It's either half circle forward or half circle
sure.
back. Yeah, and like I didn't get that at first. So there's a
Okay.
couple of things that
So-
like that tutorial does not teach you perfectly, but for the most part, it's pretty damn straightforward.
So
Damn.
like a 6 then?
6, yeah. What is it out of 8?
7, I believe.
7? Yeah, 6 is
Oh, is it
Wait,
8?
were you? Yeah. Oh, so you want to go
Then
seven?
like a 7. Yeah.
7, yeah.
I'm leaning
sound
on 4
design.
for the sounds because I'm listening to it right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you
So
like, so do you approve of the sounds or do you not like the sounds?
yeah,
like the
because I
sounds.
No, like, I
thought,
really like
I
the
thought, like old
sounds.
school console stuff wasn't your
Yeah.
your vibe, but if you're
Like
if
it's a
you're down-
crunchy sounding Neo
I
Geo
can
game.
only pretty much dock the fact that your hardware, but besides that, really banging sounds.
I mean, I love the way crunchy sounding Neo Geo games sound. Yeah, this is the other mini
Oh,
game.
it's bowling.
It's also bad. This is not a game to play by yourself. Like it's
Right.
just not.
Much in the same way you don't play fighting games by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a crunchy sounding Neo Geo game, but I do like the soundtrack. It's jumpy. I like when Gary Scott says, "Oh, come on!" Like that's fun.
Oh, bring it on!
I'll bring it on.
I was just talking about like the frisbees and it hitting, the throwing, like the curving, the goal.
Oh
like
yeah,
the,
no, it's got a
that's what
real-
I'm talking about. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, the only
Aesthetic
thing limiting here is like the fact that you're on the SNES, but besides that, like, bravo.
Neo Geo.
You're on the
Neo Geo, you
That you're on the
idiot.
SNES wannabe, but you know, bravo.
It's the
Neo
home
Geo was
arcade, an arcade in your home.
Exactly, man. Ahead of its time. It brought the arcade to your house.
It did. And it cost about as much too.
Yep.
Oh,
Target
so-
visuals. I love neon.
I love these
I-
sunglasses. I
me
too.
fucking love these sunglasses. If I could go back in time and like when I was trying to buy you the freshest piece of clothing I could buy, and I could find these sunglasses, I would have bought you these sunglasses. These look so good.
Stay fresh.
Those are Windjammer's
These
two
are two
characters.
designs.
Oh, I
Gross.
was gonna-
Get away from me.
I think they don't look. I don't think they look that
Yeah,
bad.
they're fine.
I like the Windjammers.
I want to look at
But, like,
old
Yeah,
design.
this is gonna have
the
to
the
be.
character
Look.
portraits for.
Look, the game is crusty, but it has a vibe.
I would say pretty
We'll give it a
standard
three.
fare Yeah, I was
Give
gonna
it a
say
three.
3. Standard fare
Three is
SNES.
It's not a SNES game though.
Standard fare SNES. All right, someone of its parts.
That's Max. That game's cool
Those parts,
as
yeah.
fuck. I put on them sunglasses and say, "Come on,
I have a,
punch some
have a,
gloves."
have a
It
feeling you're gonna
feels-
say 6 for the fun factor. Is what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Even
Story. I think
So
the
this-
story is like.
I would say ignore it. Please max it out. It doesn't matter. It's a fucking sport game.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
sports. You're throwing frisbees. It's a video game. It's not a block here. It pretty much
my
isn't.
cat
like-
will allow you to make that decision.
For its time,
Jeeves, can
it
I?
came out in 1993, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what I will say is that if you were playing this in an arcade, your quarters would go real fast. 'Cause these matches are quick. But if when we played this, we were emulating a Neo Geo, and if you had the Neo Geo CD version of it, or you had that home cartridge somehow, you wouldn't obviously have that problem. The thing about For Its Time that's really the harshest thing about it is that it's stuck on the Neo Geo, and so it's stuck in a way that's like very inaccessible. This game was at one point made available on like the Japanese Wii Virtual Console.
Really?
Oh, no
For
kidding.
what it's worth, yeah, it was.
I mean, now it's available everywhere.
Now it's available everywhere. You can just go to
we're talking
PS5
about like
PC.
so it
But yeah,
comes out.
it's like-
it's in its heyday. It's 1993. Like what are we talking here? Like how is
We
this
know
game?
about it because Giant Bomb, which
They
was
found it.
people who were around back in the day, and they were like, "Windjammers is fucking sick," and they like made a whole thing about Windjammers.
Yeah.
So they thought it ruled back in the day, but I think your average person had no idea what it was. I think your average person average gamer even, still has no idea
Doesn't know
what
what this
Windjammers
is.
is.
Like they made that sequel, and the people who were excited about it were really excited about it.
Yes.
But everyone.
I'm not even
else
asking if
doesn't.
it's known for its time. Like, is it good for its time?
I think for a multiplayer game, like, cause remember this is like not too far after like Street Fighter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, this is 90. I just want to confirm that it's 93. Cause I don't want to.
Yeah, well, it was just a game you would seek to play for the
94. 94. So this is kind of this is scrapping around the fighting game era, like the kind of initial boom of fighting games. Because at this point, SNK is making this is on a Neo Geo, so SNK is making Art of Fighting games and Fatal Fury games and all this stuff at this point, right?
Yeah.
So it's hanging in there, but it's you probably don't have this near you.
So what are we doing?
So was it 3 points?
Yeah.
I think I think for like a competitive game back in this day, back in this time, it's kind of a weird. It's like a.
You want like a 2 or something? Like it sounds like you do.
There are not a lot of games from 1993 I have played, and Windjammers is one of them, and it fucking rules. So I don't know how it sticks out compared to like Echo the Dolphin.
Yeah, Echo the Dolphin, man. That's a video game.
Right.
It's a
know,
motherfucking video game.
Stat, like the way we kind of talk about Melee as being almost kind of an accident.
Yep, I was almost kind of thinking that in my head the way you were describing that.
Sometimes this game kind of feels like an accident. Like not entirely, but the pace that when it plays and like the way it can be played in this competitive way, feels like, yeah, like they probably realized what they had at some point, but I'm not sure if they set out to make the thing. They didn't set out to make a game that like a French esports community would be playing this many years later, right?
But in
They
the
didn't
year
know.
of 1993, do we like it? That's really like for its time. Is this good?
My understanding, yes.
Like-
From the only people I've ever known who were
Played it.
playing games in 1993.
Is this
Raved
like
about
It's
a
good.
like a baller? Yeah. So like, what do we? To our best estimations for the 1993 crowd, what do we?
I'll give it a 2.
Sure, yeah.
2. I think a 2 is fair, just because like not a lot of people, not a lot of access, not good value for your quarters or your money if you were buying a cartridge. Very simple game at a time when
More
some games
complex
a lot more
things are
complex
coming
than
out.
this.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, you got an 80, so
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Windjammers.
Windjammers, you did
Windjammers,
a half
yes.
circle on the wall.
Xenoblade Chronicles. No.
I feel like we need to. So my other thing I was gonna possibly suggest was like Gears of War, and because I thought that might not make it. But
It might not. I
It
don't
might
know.
not. It might
Yeah.
not. I really love the original Gears of War.
Right.
But based on the metrics we've been going, like visuals wise, like it's going for pseudo realism, and it looks like that.
It did also like basically shape how shooters played for a while, so that'll get big points.
Oh, 100%. Like
Oh yeah, that.
it is
fucking
like-
shit. Mhm.
it took the torch that Resident Evil 4 lit and carried it forward, basically.
That'll
you
be
just
for
wanna-
another time.
Maybe another time.
So we'll get a,
So how we feeling about this list of put this in your game collection? You'll have a great time.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. And then let's go down to the honorable mentions.
Where is it? Are they behind that shitty Xenoblade?
Why is Sonic Adventure there?
Oh yeah, Sonic Adventure. That's the other one.
You need Sonic Adventure in there.
Oh wait, Sonic Adventure also
Yeah,
failed.
that was
yeah.
the one.
Oh yeah,
Definitely
let's get
wasn't
it.
next.
Sonic Adventure was the litmus test of you better
Yeah.
not make it.
Yeah, I know. It's like we should talk about games that might not make it more, but there are a whole lot of games, and
Yeah.
so you know,
Yeah, we barely. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking these
right?
little discussions.
Yeah,
you
it's
get over
like
there.
really fun to think about Ace Combat 4 again.
Yeah.
It's really fun to
Ryan,
think about.
Ryan.
All right, so Xenoblade, Sonic Adventure, and Xenoblade Chronicles.
Basically the same game.
They're just the
Basically
same
the same.
thing.
Basically the same game.
Remember when Sonic says someone tries to touch you in a place you feel is uncomfortable? That's no good.
Can't wait to play Sonic Frontiers.
I can't either. I'm
I
actually looking forward to
Kind
that one.
of am curious about playing that too.
Yeah.
That's on y'all.
It's shut up.
My brain is broken.
All right.
But
So we all agree Sonic Colors 15 for effect on gaming culture, 0 in every other category.
How dare you? I got a YouTube video. made
yes, it did.
You're right, a 16.
Oh my god. It's a
was a
15
great
in my
video.
gaming culture, that's for sure.
I want to get more Sonic games on this list.
I
goddamn
got
it.
a Tony Hawk ride skateboard out of that game. What are you talking about?
It's still hanging in your home.
It is still hanging in my house to this day, and it will never come down. It's gonna
Even
be
if you
melded to
move.
this house. If I move, that board stays. You
Excellent.
don't touch the board.
It's like, have you ever like seen a Tony Hawk ride board? It's like, yeah, well, I owned one for a while. I was like, why did you own one? I'm like, well,
Well,
interesting story. You see,
Funny.
there's a YouTube video.
it has like 1,000 views for some reason. Should have been a
Still.
millionaire.
Like,
That person should be like the gaming content creator of our times. That guy is so much. His shtick is so much better
in
than
The
long
most.
form videos on
both of them.
why Dark Souls 2 is good.
Whether Dark Souls 2 is good or not good.
So we covered 8 games today, right?
Yeah, we got 2 rounds in, more on the shit. We added gens 4 through 9, just the elusive Gen 3, which is the last gen any of us are gonna know, because before that it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You want to talk about
We
Yars
don't know.
Revenge?
Oh man.
Then I'm talking
No,
about.
AT.
You want
For
to
the
talk
Atari
about
2600.
Adventure?
Yeah, think of some Sonic games that can try to break the barrier, RJ.
Think of-
'Cause
I think I know 2.
it ain't Sonic 2, because Sonic 2's trash.
Sonic 3, baby.
Just spend some time thinking about Sonic games. Just do it. Just
I don't want to
for
do
the
that
next couple
again.
weeks.
Stop.
Technically,
Think about Sonic.
technically, Puyo Puyo Tetris is half of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So
And Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 has Sonic in it.
That's true.
I think Sonic's gonna get on this list through a technicality.
It will get in.
Just a technic. He'll get 79.99 somehow. And you have
Sonic
to
is
round
a
up.
character in Super Smash Brothers Brawl and Ultimate and 4, right?
Yeah.
He's in 4.
Yeah.
He's also in Sonic Shuffle, so you know.
Sonic. That's not going to make it.
Sonic
Oh,
Shuffle.
well, look, if Rayman Rush is making it, and Rayman Rush is making it, and Sonic Shuffle is making it.
Rayman Rush.
All right. Well, we'll probably just set another day to reconvene. Yeah, just.
So if
this
we
is
do-
nicely paced.
I feel like we took a long break, but
Yeah, hopefully we
I
can reconvene
work-
sooner.
I work 3 days next week, and then a whole week regular, and then only 3 days the following week. But I imagine you probably want to spend the holidays with your families.
Fuck my family. You ever met them?
Oh my god! Well,
Wait,
okay,
you
well,
have?
he's in. He took me home to his parents once.
Oh yeah.
It was
In fact,
magical.
you also met them like a few weeks ago or months.
Yes, sir. Yeah, something like that. All right, and any closers before we peace out?
Yeah, I think we really need to relitigate Majora's Mask. I don't know if it.
It's on the
All right,
list.
we're done. Good night, everybody.
Are we having fun yet?